Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the August Origin series for Wild Rift. I'm Lee Demon Smith, and joining me is Derry Holt, aka Desert Chew. And I have a fly landing right on top of my camera right now that I'm staring at. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. That is the summer right here, Derry. How you doing?
Not too bad, mate. I am fly-free fantastically, so I'm glad that it's you suffering and not me, Lee. That's all I'll say.
It just flew past the camera. See the sneaky,
what I love is you spent the
things.
whole pre-show saying, I tell you what, we're going to go live, and there's one that's going to land on me. It's going to do my head in, and it hasn't landed on you. It's on the camera, so it's kind of a halfway house. It'll get on your head throughout this pre-show. I guarantee it.
Going to drive me up the wall. I guarantee. But it's not obviously all about us. And you know, a flies we have. Let's listen from the players because, of course, they've all qualified to be here in August. And let's hear their journey.
The qualifiers went pretty well for my team. We won every single match. And I think the last game for the seeding was against the current champions, the Unicorns of Love. And we actually won them. But it doesn't say anything because it's just qualifiers and it was for the seeds.
Every team in our region and in Turkey is getting better, like as we speak, you know. So yeah, qualifiers went, I wouldn't say poorly, but I know we could do better.
I feel like we lost 2 big games in our qualifiers because unfortunately, like, some people couldn't have been there. But it is what it is. It's a sport. It's going to happen. The only thing we can really do is deal with it and push on.
The qualifiers were very hard. They played very well. They bring us in a lot of difficulties. But we managed with our team and we qualified to this final. So we are very happy.
The qualifiers went pretty well, I would say. Like, we won every single game without dropping a map. So it proves again that we are actually really good players. Obviously, in the beginning, you are like a bit pressured because you really want to perform well. You want to prove themselves that they got you in the team for a good reason. But after some days, it was like gone basically. Like, they accepted me just as per usual, like I was playing for them for 5 years or something. At least it felt like that.
The August qualifiers went very smoothly for us. We ended up not dropping a map at all. You know, I keep stressing that it's very hard to remain at the top, and it is very difficult because everybody else is really hungry. Everybody else is practicing more because they want to beat you. And so we do have to make sure that we're maintaining our level and still coming up with new ideas because otherwise they will catch up to us.
Every single, like, how to say it, favorite of the tournament is in our bracket. Like, when we saw the bracket, we were like, what?
We qualified, and that's enough because our plan is anyway to win against any team that we meet in the finals. Like, if you want to be the champion, you still have to win against any team. So what, like, where you start, like, it doesn't really matter.
I mean, he's not wrong, is he? He's not wrong. You got to beat anyone that is in front of you, and that's how they've gone through the tournament. So, also very confident words from Snitch as well, from No Talent. Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, it's fairness. You know, they've won both monthly finals. They are the final boss, effectively, the team to beat.
They absolutely are. I mean, they played fantastically in the last month as well. That was again their final against Game Lord, came out on top there. Game Lord, a team that many look at as one of the best in Europe. So, lots to be excited about. X-Tribe here, no team, no talent, looking to be the ones to beat.
Yeah, and let's have a look from July. Obviously, you obviously saw from the players. Let's have a look at some of the highlights from July because there were certainly some very great moments throughout it, of course. And starting things off here, this was Footballists, I believe, versus Unicorns of Love.
It was, yeah, 3-2 to Footballists as well. I think, 3-2 to Unicorns of Love. Footballists, putting up a really, really interesting game. And for a while, we all thought it was going to go the way of Footballists. They might be able to do it. And coming in, I think many were looking at them and saying, Unicorns of Love, no one's beating them here. They've smashed their way through the bracket. They barely dropped any maps across June and July. Then they get to the final and face their real challenge against Footballists. And I'm hoping this month, whether it's Footballists, whether it's Na'Vi, we have another team really giving it to the side of Unicorns of Love because everyone loves a bit of a race over the finish line.
Yeah, very tight games, as you can see here. This one being a very tight team fight between them all. And you can see Footballists almost, just look how low some of the Unicorns of Love players are. If they just had a slightly better engagement, that could have been very much their team fight instead. As you can see, it sort of snowballed away from them in that matchup there. And it does put Unicorns of Love, of course, in a fantastic spot to qualify. They are the #1 team from Group B now.
They are, yeah. I want to give a massive shout out to Colstar, by the way. He's renekted in that series. Absolutely terrifying. You saw it in the previous clip where he gets onto the AD carry, flashes, and just goes to the full nuke. Now, when Renekton first got released in Wild Rift, they were like, well, damage isn't quite there. The Q's not as strong. The healing isn't as good. You won't see him played that much. Absolutely wrong. We've been seeing him being brought into the mid lane in some regions around the world. That's just how scary he can be. And then, of course, we step into Group A, which was equally spicy. Doom putting on a real masterclass with Snitch in the mid lane on the Lucian. Honestly, this triple AD carry setup they've got, teams need to find a way to beat it, because with Solari Chargeblade being as strong as it is right now as well, they're just going to run teams overly if you give them chance.
And it's very interesting. Obviously, in July, we had this Game Lord finals, which everybody was expecting from June, but it never happened in June because Game Lord just fell short. But they definitely certainly picked it back up. But unfortunately, as you mentioned, they just fell short once again to no team, no talent, no nothing at the moment, because they're looking for an org, boys. They're looking for an org in case you can't make it out. Formerly Tribe Gaming, of course.
I tell you what, I'm shouting out all the top laners here as well, because Leon played Graves top in every single one of their games, and Graves for the longest time has been the jungler. We all know that's kind of where he's sat. Had a buff in 2.48. Riot realized, okay, maybe a little bit over buff with the new items and pulled him back down ever so slightly. Not enough that he's still not strong. He is, especially in the early game. They remove some of that scaling as the game goes by for him. But I expect today, for the side of no team, no talent, again, that you might see that triple AD carry setup coming out at some point for the mid lane playing AD carry, of course, bot lane too, and then Leon in the top lane, normally with Doom playing something like a Xin or a Lee Sin in the jungle. They are the team to beat, like they keep on saying, though. Really excited to see how they do.
Yeah, top of the table. We'll see whether they manage to qualify through. Of course, it does look like they will. I think if they win the first game of the first round or something like that, they're in. I think that's how secure they are in Group A, which is pretty darn impressive. One of the stronger groups out there overall. So, fantastic stuff. Let's have a look at the points overall for those groups, just to get it clear in your minds. As we say, no team at the top there. 810 points. A massive, massive score for them. Team Queso, of course, hot on their heels, along with Game Lord and Cremrio Betis. They're the team that are really going to have to step up here, but I feel they're going to need either Queso or Game Lord to drop away if they can be into that top three.
It's quite spicy because at the top here, no team, no talent, only need to win their first match of the day and they are qualified for the championship. That is how close they are. It would be an absolute blunder if they were to slip out of the first round and slip out of the lower bracket. That's simply not going to happen. You can basically look at them as qualified. So as you say, that second and third spot is where it really starts to get spicy. We need a miracle run for Cremreal Betis here to be able to keep up with Game Lord and Team Queso. At the minute, they're the three in pole position to take it, but you never know.
Over in Group B, it's a bit more clear-cut, no doubt about it. Unicorns of Love up the top of the table. Na'Vi, after picking up a couple of players, definitely stepping up their performance. Obviously, prior to Origin Series, they were the team to watch, but Unicorns of Love now with 810 points. It's down to footballists, I feel, to see whether they can break into that top two.
That's it, right? If footballists get through into top two today and play against UOL in the final, for example, they might just eke it out. I think the point you walk away with for winning this month is at the stage where they might be able to get, and I'll do a quick check, it's 96 points, sorry, not 96, it's about 86 points between second and third place. So really, footballists need to go on and win the whole thing. I think even if they beat Na'Vi there, they'd still make it. In fact, no, Na'Vi need to finish third, footballists need to finish third. Otherwise, it's going to be Na'Vi and UOL that go through to the championship.
Let's have a look at Group C then, just to round things out here. Very, very tight at the top. Sunlight Team and Cut Esports. It is just simply 16 points between them. They've been in the finals for both June and July. I expect them to be there in August, and I've got a feeling there is only one place coming from Group C. It's going to be down to that finals. It's going to be close, Terry.
It is. There's 16 points between the two of them, right? That means whoever wins this final, and being honest, we're likely going to see these two in the final. No other team really holds a candle to either Cut or Sunlight right now. The winner of that walks away with an extra, I think it's 80 points, and no matter which way you look at it, the winner of that game between those two, which is likely to be the final, will be the one that goes through to the championship. There's only one place coming out of Group C, 3 from Group A, 2 from B, and 1 from C. So although both teams have been neck and neck, they've won 1 each so far. July did give an extra bonus number of points, which is why Sunlight are ever so slightly ahead. It's going to come down to a best of 3 of best of 5s to see which team gets through. 15 maps being played between the two. to see who makes it to the championship. It's madness. I love it.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Yeah, it's going to be great to see, no doubt about it. Keep your eyes on that. Let's have a look at the brackets to see what is going to play out throughout August now. We are into the monthly finals, the final monthly finals, in fact. As you can see right at the top there, Na'Vi against Equinox. They are potentially going to be facing Footballists in the second round. That is incredible. They're also in the top bracket with Unicorns of Love. That is horrific. That is so stacked at the top there. Well, it's going to be very interesting to see how those Russian teams do deliver here on Group B.
I think the bottom side's a little bit kind of a sleeper run. Someone like BK Rog could go on a real tear through. I'm looking at Sangal Esports as well, who've done relatively well on the top side. They're probably not going to be able to breeze their way past teams like Na'Vi and UOL. Fun fact, actually, Sangal have been knocked out of the top bracket in both of their runs so far against UOL and lost in the lower bracket to BK Rog. So it's been a bit of a rough one for them so far. Bottom side, BK Rog could go quite far here, but everyone is going to be watching those round one games in the top half of this upper bracket because that's where the big boys sit. And as we've mentioned, it's going to be that sprint over the finish line to see who makes it through the lower bracket. This could have a really explosive end to it, D-Man.
All right, let's have a look at Group C then to see how that's going to work out. Remember, keep your eyes on Sunlight and Cut. They are separated in the brackets, so it would be winner bracket where they potentially would meet each other. Of course, they have to get past the other teams first.
Absolutely. I mean, they'll both make it through into the upper bracket final, right? Then one will lose and go down to the losers final. The last thing either of them can afford is to lose that losers final. So you're going to be very wary about those teams in the lower bracket who might have something spicy planned for this month and finally be able to bring down one of the two. But as mentioned, I do expect we'll see both of those teams in that best of 5 grand final, the winner being the one who qualifies to the championship.
Let's have a look over at Group A. Obviously, the lion's share of the European teams lying here. No team, no talent. Right at the top of the corner there. They're going to be first one out. Kremreal Batis are in their same bracket. Now, remember, Kremreal Batis currently sitting in 4th place. It's the top 3 that will qualify through. And Kremreal Batis need to have a really strong run here. So it does look like they're going to have to take down what is potentially the top team to get there. Meanwhile, you've obviously got Game Lord in there, as we would expect. Team Queso Spain, because you should point out there is 2 of them in there. So definitely going to be very stacked over in Group A, which obviously we'll be seeing the final games of today.
Yeah, I'm really nervous for Kremreal Betis. I think it's a little bit too late at this point, but if your teams like Team Queso, like No Team No Talent are kind of safe, but I think Queso might be looking at it going, it could go wrong, so let's put in a really solid performance today. It's almost like you've kind of laid the road here and said, here are the big teams who should win and need to win to secure their spot. But like any competition, you just don't know what underdog is going to come out of what bit of woodwork and cause a surprise for the would-be winners.
As we said, Game Lord, who are currently sitting in second, they went out very early on in the June finals. So let's have a look at what we got today for you. Kicking things off over in Group B, we're going to look towards Sangal. They are up against SMB, so that's going to be the best of 3 to start things off. That will be the first game here. Then we'll be moving over to, I believe, Group C and rounding things off with Group A at the end of the day. Of course, it all depends how things simply play out within the tournament as well.
I'm just saying, right, I'm really disappointed because in all of our rehearsals, you were like, super massive blaze, and here you are going SMB.
It's because I was looking at something else. I was checking the runner show, make sure I had the right flow going. I was trying to be professional, Derry. Trying to be professional. Speaking of,
I'm here to derail you, don't worry.
Absolutely. Let's introduce the teams that we playing today.
Hello guys, my name is Omar Amin. I'm the coach for Cut Esports Wild Rift team.
Luis Veos Loca competing for Game Lord in this Origin series. My last team was looking for Org Black.
Hello everyone, my name is Don and I'm mid laner for Na'Vi.
Hello, my name is Joshua Bennett. My in-game name is Snitch, and I am the mid laner for No Team No Talent.
Hello, my name is Snolia. I am a team captain of Rio Gaming.
So my name is Simple. Right now I'm representing Roti Top 1. We was previously known as Searching for Org, and then before that we was known as Looking for Org What? Because new Origin series, new name, new us, you feel me?
Hello guys, my name is Fike. I'm also known as Shorty. I'm the coach for Unicorns of Love, Wild Rift.
Hello, I'm Shakrix. I'm the Baron laner of 7 free agents. And this time we are 6 free agents. 5 plus SC.
Hello, I'm El Susurros. I'm playing support for Wizards.
Hi there, I'm Monikit. I'm Baron Laner for Papara Supremacy Blaze. We are very eager and confident for this tournament.
I'm pretty confident going into the team and taking the win in this last qualifier.
We're no team, no talent, and we're the final boss. If you want to win August, you got to get through us.
I hope that the other teams are watching out for us, and yes, let's have this.
We are with us. We are going to make magic.
Get ready for the 7th Free Agents Miracle. We are ready to fight.
I don't mind playing against any team in the qualifiers. We really don't care. We think we are ready. I think we are better than all the other teams.
We will show a really good games, and yeah, good luck everyone.
Let's do our best and win this match.
We are the reigning champions, and maybe some of you guys will think that we are not hungry anymore, that we are relaxed. We are not. We came here for one thing only, to win the 3rd Origin Series, and we're not going home without a win.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get the first game underway. It is going to be over in Group B. Let's check out the teams to start things off here. It is, of course, going to be TD, No PC, Lemiom, Cool FX, and Kesko, and for Supermassive Blaze is Lonely Kid, Bambi, Nacres, and look at that. They cut away before I even gets to read the boy's name out. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. It is Tulkas and Guys. Yeah, Tulkas and Guys. There we go. I don't think I mentioned Ruvler in there either somewhere, but we'll see how that works out. Let's get the pick and bans ready to go, because I think pretty much we are flying through this one, Derry. We're going to get to see exactly who is going to come out. It looks like Supermassive Blaze are going to be starting things out over on the blue side and Sangal on the red.
So realistically, we've seen a lot more games from Sangal so far throughout the last 2 months. Supermassive Blaze have only made it through one of their games, so it's been a rough ride. They didn't qualify back in June. Back in July, you saw things like the Gragas, the Wukong, the Ari, and the Zyra Khan bot lane in both of the games they played. I'm kind of expecting they'll settle on that for comfort, but Sangal, they've got a much more flexible pool, but I think Renekton is going to be one of their big focuses, and I think that's a really good respect ban coming out of Sangal. The Yasuo coming out, that was played by their mid laner in one of their previous 2 games that they played in the July qualifier.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Both Turkish teams have huge following. Obviously, the Turkish esports scene always has done throughout League of Legends, and it's great to see that it's following into Wild Rift right here on the mobile side. So, pretty standard at the moment. Okay, so the Gragas coming through there as well. And, no, the Pantheon. It actually has been a big favorite from Group B. The Pantheon's constantly been picked, so we'll see whether that jungles or not, or whether it's the top lane.
Yeah, definitely going to find it in the jungle, I think, here. It's so oppressive in the jungle when you can just ult seemingly anywhere on the map. You'll have the Fiora playing off. In fact, no, maybe it's going to be a mid lane in that case.
That's with the Camille, yeah, I wasn't sure.
Camille in the jungle, Fiora top lane. That is interesting in itself. On the other side, that Varus and center bot lane. Oh my god, it's horrific when once Varus gets his ult online, so watch out for that. Gigatank in the Mundo, and the Vayne Lulu. Vayne we don't see a whole lot of these days. A little bit squishy, a little bit, takes a bit of time to get into the game. 3-4 items online before she really switches on. They'll be playing for the kind of scaling of that, but look at this comp when it gets online, D-Man. You're looking towards the Fiora with items. You're looking towards a Camille with 2 or 3 items. If they hit 3-4 items in this game, I think you're going to find the other side of Sangal really struggle to fight back, to be honest.
I'm seeing a combo effectively with the Hextech Ultimate and the Man Drop coming down on top. Even the Fiora could get in there with the Grand Challenge. You could literally get locked down into one point. There's no way out of it. So very interested to see how it works out for them. But let's get the game on your screens.
There it is. Right. Really excited to see how this bot lane plays out with the Vayne Lulu as mentioned. I think it's going to take a bit of time to get on. They will get bullied quite a bit early on, I think, by the Varus and the Senna. But as you mentioned, think about how horrific those team fights can be for someone like the Varus. They haven't got tons of frontline CC outside of his ultimate, outside of a bit of Senna lockdown, and maybe the Gragas. They're going to rely so much on Nysa in that top lane to do the work to keep them safe, I think. Otherwise, you're going to find that bot lane duo just getting pumped out of a fight because of how much damage exists on the other side of Supermassive Blaze.
So early invade coming through here. Bambi And guys going looking for it. No PC on the red buff. Going to get caught out. They're going aggressive and they're going to force him away from the red buff. There was no counter jungle coming out from Sangal, so that is a straight up steal. Now we can see the invade though coming in down on the south side towards the red buff.
This is really interesting. I can't think of how many times I've really seen a support go hyper-aggressive like this in the early game and supporting on a roam invade, especially when it's a Vayne all by herself in the bot lane. Going to get poked out by seemingly everything down there, looking towards the Senna, the Varus. It's not really pretty. And we did touch on the jungle Camille potentially coming out. No, it's a Camille in the mid lane and a Pantheon in the jungle. Ah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I keep seeing Cool Effects. Cool Effects is really trying to help out right now. It's like, okay, I can tell my jungler needs help. Actually, Mundo's been pretty clever here. Realizing the Pantheon's gone down south, looking to go for the double blue instead of the double red in there. So he's going for the blue buff invade. We'll keep an eye on that one because you can see the Orianna's also moving up. That's all happening in the river right now because the Camille's coming up. There's the top lane. They're engaging one another, trying to get that Scuttle Crab away, but needing the help. And I think that invade is not going to work. He's passed a ward, and that is going to be Supermassive coming out really well in the jungle early game.
Yeah, just trading on those crabs early on as well. I think it was good for the side of Sengal to at least stock up there and go for 3-man onto the crabs, stop the contest coming in from mid lane and from top. So good stuff. But that just opens up Bambi to focus on the bot side entirely, which is exactly what he'll do here. Get his full clear down on the bottom side of the map. Not a bad start. And of course, we're always looking for when that ult comes online for the Pantheon. Because not at all to say that Mundo's ult is bad, but it's not exactly a man drop, as you say. The Grand Skyfall can land you in a lane seemingly anywhere. And my eyes turn immediately towards that bot lane. And here we go, potentially engage in the mid.
Yeah, you can lock him up and do a lot of damage to him to pull the ball, go defensive with that command and just about keeping him in control. But I tell you what, Sangal, they are under pressure early on. Bear in mind, Sangal have at least double the points of Supermassive. So this is a very good start for Supermassive.
Yeah, I think Sangal, maybe not expecting to get out of the group, but at least to get themselves high up on the charts is definitely the goal today. And again, against Supermassive, a team that didn't qualify in June. When they qualified in July, they got through the first round and then got knocked out with double back-to-back losses, admittedly, coming up against some difficult teams. So, you know, this is one of the ones you look at and think realistically for Sangal, it should be a 2-0 in this series. But not a bad start so far for Supermassive Blaze. I'm really enjoying the aggression coming out of Bambi, keeping himself busy, making ganks happen everywhere. Just removing the potential aggression from Sangal, I think, by making them feel a little bit uncomfortable.
So we'll see how this does continue. We haven't really had a great deal of look at obviously the top and the bottom lanes. Obviously what's been going on with all the Baron and the Dragon lanes, as we prefer to call them these days. It is, of course, Gragas versus Furor in the top there. Gragas, we know what comes in the package between these two, which is probably why we've not really had to look at them much.
Nah, it'd be a bit of a wet noodle fight for a while until the Furor gets the first item online. Note, though, in the bot lane, both recooled down, got items online because they know that in about 20 seconds or so, this Drake is coming online, as is the Herald, as of 2.4, of course. Those spawning at exactly the same time. So you can make a choice to trade one if you don't care too much about the first Drake. First one's an Ocean. Not the best one in the world. Maybe you do admit here and say, you know what, I don't want to fight over that. We'll just go and focus on the Herald instead. You can see immediately that Sangal are the first ones around this. And this is what you'll see from those stronger teams, Lee. A bit of earlier team grouping, better positioning for these team fights. Wards are down everywhere as well. Supermassive Blaze are the ones who've got to try and fight their way into this territory, reclaim vision, and then start squaring up for it. But potentially not. Sangal already backing off.
Yeah, I think they read the situation, realized obviously they got the crab, and that was about all. So they have the vision in and around Dragon, but realized, hang on a minute, we're being closed in upon. We're not really in a great state to fight here. If you noticed, Supermassive Blaze actually all backed, or mostly had backed, so they've actually all spent. So I'll be interested to see where they were maybe ahead in the items, and it was a good read from Sangal to say, okay, let's not just fight just yet.
Absolutely not. No, it's being cautious, right? You don't want to get yourself dunked on by like a Pantheon in the early game, ulted by the Camille, ulted with the Lulu on top of them as well to make sure you're CC'd for even longer. That's what you're constantly being wary of. And given how slow it's been to begin with, neither side really committing to taking an objective so far. I'm wondering when that first catch comes through. It's been 5 minutes and no kills.
Yeah, this looks like it may well be it. You can see there's the challenge coming straight through. So they're going to lock up Kenko. Not really the one they were looking for, in fairness. Go for that center. So didn't really manage to land it. Got to keep your eye on that ball as well around the mid lane at the moment. It's just a very much a trade back and forward. But I got to be honest, Sangal have come out on top with a lot of hit points, whereas Supermassive Blaze have just been shredded down. And now finally the top laner arrives. This is Bambi just simply committing to try go for the smite fight. Doesn't work out.
Really tried his best there, no, but it is secured away by Sengal. I think a little bit early on that smite, but I appreciate it. I understand the idea and what it was they were going for. And with the jungler down, bearing in mind, relatively low respawn timers, ults are mostly down for both sides. A couple on the side of Supermassive Blaze. They're going to turn straight towards the Herald here, but the Pantheon's back on. The Camille and the Orianna not anywhere near this fight. You might see the Pantheon ult in here.
Well, Lonely Kid living up to his name right now, all alone, waiting for the rest of his team to arrive. Finally, will manage to get the Grand Challenge down onto Nisa there. Should be able to lock out the kill, but the Red Herald will go over to the red team. And that's all they wanted, the Rift Herald going picked up, but they are going to lose, what, 2-3 for the chance. And they've kind of overcommitted a little bit there.
Yeah, and you give the Vayne 2 kills as well. What a way to accelerate her mid-game at level 8 at this point, to halfway on that journey to absolute night terrors for the other team. But that was, oh, the flash forward and the stun to the wall.
Okay. I mean, he's managed to get the flash done. It worked out. They've got to trade the damage, though, at the moment. The Vayne does, in the end, get away, but the Mundo goes down. It was a 1-for-1 trade. But did Tulkas pick up the kill again?
I'm not sure as well. We'll see when the scoreboard comes back up. But I want to touch again on that fight around the Herald. Wow. The ult in, the separation. Poor Nisa, by the way. Missing every ability possible. The charge misses. The ult misses. Poor Varus, as we mentioned on, by the way. Stunned up by the Vayne. Stunned up by the Pantheon. Watch him here. It just has nothing to do with the Varus. Steps back to this wall. Ult into the wall. Sorry, Eat into the wall by the Vayne. Stunned by the Pantheon. Ult comes through in a second, I think, onto the Vayne to make sure he stays alive. Nisa misses the ult. Everything falls apart. And the thing is, with no Orianna there, with the Varus completely CC'd up and a pretty, I suppose at this point, low gold center, there is just no damage coming out of those tanks on the side of Sengal. Really well played by Supermassive.
I mean, that is the difference, effectively, when you trade for the Mundo, because obviously you don't have great crowd control. Sure, you have a slow in there, but other than the explosive cask and obviously the ball, the shockwave, you know, there's not a lot to protect him. Obviously, the center can only do so much to try and keep them away. So, as you say, you know, when you get pinned by the other Vayne against the wall, you're pretty screwed.
Yeah, it was honestly just a really, really well-placed play, I think. It was a bit risky at first with the Fiora going in, but did bait out a number of cooldowns, and we mentioned the lack of ultimates for Sengal. It's a very, very smart fight coming out of Supermassive. Now we'll see what the focus is. You've got the Pantheon moving on towards the bottom side, I think. Ball running away from those in the mid lane. A big engage coming in, and again, it's the Varus being caught out.
And he got pinned beautifully once again there. They turn it back around. It's going to be 2. Can they make it 3, or will they just simply get the tower here? This is going to be Supermassive, really turning things on. You know, Sangala were happy just to retreat back to simple lane plays and got completely caught napping.
And they get the first tower as well. Again, mega play for Supermassive. Unfortunately for the Varus, no flash online. Understandable, you can't really get away, but you should be respecting that. Orianna, Varus, 2 of the worst champions that you can have without flash up, for example, for getting yourself isolated, especially when there's something like a Camille on side, the Pantheon on side. It is such a kill lane in the mid lane, yet right now, they are feasting on cool effects on that Varus.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they're feeding the Vayne, and you can see 304, 7,000 gold compared to 5,900 on that's just not good. And there you go, just items pinging into place, looking great right now, and that's going to cause a real problem in the next team fight.
It's just so
which is happening right now, actually, on the picture-in-picture. I can see they're getting involved immediately as we look at the replay. Sangal actually going for the middle turret, so they're engaging as well as we pull out the replay. Let's have a look at what's going on here. The Mundo will get caught out. The tower did go down. In the end, it was a trade. Supermassive picking up the kill with the Rift Herald being pressured on them by Sangal.
I'm not so sold on that call, to be honest with you, D-Man, because the Drake just came up and, look, it's a Cloud Drake. Most teams don't really care about it at this point, but I think at this point you're going to take it for free, knowing there is no way the Mundo can possibly get out of base and contest you in time. It'll be a freebie coming up to Supermassive Blaze. No huge complaints there. If nothing else, the team setting up as they are with more ultimates, more catches, another dive in.
And then they're going to dive straight through the bushes. There's absolutely no vision there. The tower goes down instantly, and Supermassive Blaze just turn on the power. Straight in, straight around. That's a bit of a deep dive in the end there. Realizing they're going to try and have to get away from that one. That's a double kill coming out for the Orianna there. So nicely worked out to counter it in the end. But it was a 2-for-2 trade with another tower falling.
I mean, okay, better. There was some bounce back there. The Orianna was present for that fight. This is always going to be the fear, though, right? Supermassive Blaze going to engage onto someone so quickly and burst them out before the rest of the team can respond. If you get into a spot where you've got the center there, for example, she's bringing out the ultimate. Someone's got barrier on side, of which both the mid laner and the AD carry do, plus the top laner, of course. If you can survive through that initial burst, you'll be just fine. But here, they managed to survive for a second. It's a focus onto the center, and the problem is that they're focusing so heavily onto the support to start. They do get the Varus, but they overcommit for it. And then it's all down to Lemium, all by himself on the Orianna, happily picking up a double kill off the back of it. I think not so much a massive misfocus, but maybe the focus next time should be onto the Varus and then the Orianna.
Oh, and speaking of, they're going straight back into it. No messing around here. This is going to be a top kill, and this should be picked up by Supermassive here. They're certainly looking stronger at the moment. The Mundo finally arrives, but it's already 2 down, and now he's going to get turned on. What can he do? Absolutely nothing. It's just simply back away to the tower, and it is another 2 for 0 for Supermassive Blaze.
Yeah, not too bad as well. Focusing down the tank, and you saw towards the back end of the fight how low a couple of those members won't. I thought for a second we might see Sengal get 1 or 2 back, but don't forget, at the same time, you've had the Fiora off doing what she does best, split pushing in the bot lane.
Yeah, everything going at the moment to Supermassive Blaze. Despite that early start, that early pressure, the Dragon being picked up, things were looking good for Sangal. You know, in terms of lane phase, yes, they lost the early jungle pressure, which I'm sure they're going to try and relieve the second time out. But at the moment, let's have a look once again. So it was all about that tower pressure once again and quickly relieved. So I've got to be honest with 2 for 2. 2 for a tower, I'll take it.
I will give, though, Cool Effects missed both his ultimate and pretty critical Q in that fight as well. If he managed to land that, maybe he discourages the engage that you see coming in. Maybe the batliner Camille goes down after she's ran away from the fight on like footlog. Basically no HP left. The shield at the end from the Lulu being one of the saving graces, I feel, in that fight. Just again, a couple of big ults or key abilities being missed by the side of Sangal here. I want to see that come online because when this comp works, their disengage is ludicrous. Gragas ultimate, the Orianna ultimate, the W coming out of Kesko, sorry, on the center. Also the Varus ultimate. They've got so much to work for them, but it just feels like they're constantly being caught out and not giving themselves room to breathe.
Yeah, and the gold, of course, is sort of leading that way with the 6,000 advantage here. Lonely Kid's happy to duel at the moment when he's going to try and build up towards that grand challenge if he really wants to go for it. Don't think it's going to be worth it. And I think he's realized it the same because they are putting the pressure on towards the top tower now. Here comes the support, Orion. Tulka trying to get the bolts onto No PC, saying, no, you're not going to land that cleaver on me. And they will back away. They're a bit low on the hit points. Sangal responding, but it doesn't matter. Supermassive have already retreated.
Yeah, nothing really massive to worry about there. Once Mundo burns that ult, you're not going to want to stick around, but already Tulkas is starting to pose a threat. That Vayne that we spoke about, getting towards that kind of 3-4 item mark. And a quick look at the stacks, by the way, 63 on the center right now, already getting pretty rapidly towards that point of being terrifying. Also worth noting, of course, that fasting center in the supportive role here, you do get more of those souls for not killing minions. That's why you see it getting up so high, and with the cleaver online, shredding through the other side. The problem really is that the only real person that's benefiting is going to be the Varus sitting there as her marksman. And we've seen exactly how well he's fared in fights so far, has always been the primary target. So kind of left with something up a creek is the way I'll word it, D-Man.
Pretty much. No paddles included. Mountain Drake coming online. So this is going to be the big team fight, I feel. And obviously Supermassive, yes, they have the gold advantage, but Sangar trying to get the position and the vision early on, and they've already started it. Supermassive are way out of position here. They're going to have to try and dive for it. Now they go with the aggression. I was going to try past you, but it doesn't matter because it's happening so quickly. They've got the pin onto Nisa. Nisa can do nothing about that one. Caught out, the top laner absolutely devastated, and Supermassive just showing the power that gold has given them.
I feel like I'm almost repeating myself from 5 minutes ago. Look at the order of flow. I mean, one, you found the Varus going down there with barrier still up. Flash, I think, had come on off cooldown whilst he was already dead, so that wasn't available. But what do? They focus onto Cool FX and nuke him out. As soon as the Pantheon nukes in, that's pretty much the end of that one. What comes up next? They just burn their way through the rest of the team. Nisa again missing another big ult. You are the main disengage for your team, and twice in a crucial fight, they've missed their ultimate. It's removed the point of even having a Gragas on side. It's just completely falling apart for Sengal. What an upset this game is turning out to be.
Absolutely. Supermassive Blaze turning up here in game number 1. Now, with the Baron online, they've got the 10k gold advantage. Now it's time to turn the game in their favor and finish it off. Let's have a look at the replay, because I didn't get a chance to set you up here. So you get a chance to look.
It's totally fine. Just watch Call Effects again here. Getting caught out, you can see him grounded up by the Camille, stunned on by the Pantheon. Oh, look, he's dead in basically 2 abilities. Unlucky, I guess. Great counterplay. This is from the Gragas. The healing comes off the back of the Fiora that we've seen in a couple of fights as well. Just everything combos up so well. And now that the Vayne is online, that Mundo is like a piece of paper in the front line. It doesn't matter. They're just running past him, burning through the carries, because again, that ult and the CC being provided by the Gragas simply does not exist.
Absolutely. Very, very quick set. I was expecting like okay, they've started the dragon, they're going to step away a little bit. No, they just went in. They just went straight in there. Wow, no PC can't mess with Nacris anymore. That is a big problem. Yes, the Baron is on there, of course, but you can see the damage he put down there. The Varus finally will get around and try and help out, but at the moment, this is looking disastrous for Sangal.
I mean, that's the ult coming out of the Varus. One of those big tools that we were talking about in fights that they could really use having on side right now is offline. And a flash away from the Varus, the spear came through. Still gets tagged by it either way. Back to base they'll go on low HP. And this is where it should all fall apart for them, D-Man.
Yeah, that's just going to have to back away from this one. I don't think they could do anything about it. Nisa gets away with 0 health. Doesn't matter. That's going to be the Nexus gone. And the first game, surprising maybe, goes to Supermassive Blaze. What an upset to start things off here. And honestly, they deserved it. It started from the very beginning with that jungle invade.
I mean, everything, right? We spoke about the aggression coming out of Bambi. No PC, Nisa, non-factor in this game. The other 3 members would just target practice for the members of Supermassive Blaze. Really good early aggression. Didn't let Sangal get into their groove. Really well played. And map 2 is going to be so spicy.
Well, obviously, we had a chance to look at a lot of things that happened throughout that game. Derek, any particular points you want to look at?
There is actually one, yeah. I do want to take us over to the drawing board for this as well. Wonderful transition, of course, because there was a clip, and the one I want to show, of course, is the team fight that broke out around the Herald. This was the big one for me. I want to play it for you in slow-mo to begin with, because note first and foremost that Lonely Kid is in here entirely by himself. But look as everyone groups up to try and focus him down here. All 4 members sat right in the middle of this ultimate that's about to come dropping down on top of their heads. It's not going to be pretty, D-Man. And now watch as Tulkas comes up here to focus on to the Varus. Completely isolated. No one's protecting him in this spot. Easy enough. Pinned into the wall. Pantheon straight on top. And bearing in mind at this point, the gold is slightly in favor of the side of Sangal. You'd probably say they should be the ones coming out on top, or at least relatively even in these fights. But Lonely Kid is basically on full HP. Progresses forward from there. The ult comes in a second to go onto Toolcast. He's knocked up. You saw the ultimate that came in for the Gragas. Sorry, over to this side. Nothing happened. His charge earlier on came down here through a gap. So missed the E, missed the ultimate off to the right. It could not have gone more wrong for the side of Sangal in this fight. And from there, it's a beautiful cleanup. Again, everyone playing inside of that Fiora ultimate. Super well played by Supermassive. Super well not played by the side of Sangal. They need to improve in map 2.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. Well, I mean, that was simply a case of a poor AD carry. It was just focus. I hate playing AD carry, that's why. Let's get straight over to game 2, though, because it looked like it's about ready to go. All right, there's the teams once again. As we've just seen there, we'll see whether they can turn things around here, because Supermassive Blaze now on the red side, looking fantastic in that first game. And don't forget about Sangal. Sangal, they're the team that took Unicorns of Love to game 3 last month. Seems to be a very different team that has turned up this time around there, Derek.
Just a little bit so far. I mean, look, everyone can get, I'm not going to say cheesed, but you can be upset quite early in the mid game and it snowballs away from there. You saw the Camille, you saw the Pantheon, you saw the damage it was doing. I would be shocked if there is not a ban coming out against one of those champions in this game. Sure, you respect ban the Yasuo last time round. You know that you can shut that down with some good mid lane aggression. So let's get rid of the Camille, get rid of the Pantheon, things that can catch out your carries so easily, and let's make this a clean one, Sengal. Otherwise, this could be a huge upset, and one that personally, we in the Britain, we live for underdog stories. I'll take it.
Absolutely. Let's get the pick and bans on the way for game number 2. Will we see any adjustments? Any focus bans coming out from there? Of course, the Vayne certainly doing very well, but I wouldn't say it is certainly something they should focus. Sangal, of course, starting out on the blue side this time. And once again, the Akali banned out.
Makes sense as well. Akali just super strong for every single team. You're probably going to see it taken away a lot. Similar story for the Ziggs. Some teams, I think, are prioritizing it more than others right now. You see it picked up a little bit throughout Group B. We've seen Unicorns Look play it, for example. Vivax have played it a number of times, and even once or twice these teams along the way. There is that respect ban that I spoke about, by the way, the Camille coming through in place of the Yasuo. Want to know if it's a Pantheon as the next one, or do they ignore it? Nope, so still respect banning out the Yasuo. It's clearly thinking, okay, that guy's a little bit too deadly on it. Let's not give it to him.
Yeah, so I mean, the bonus, I think, for Supermassive, I think the thing that threw them is because they picked that Camilla, like, oh, they picked the jungler early. And then obviously they come out with the Pantheon. And then there's the Fiora, and they're like, oh, where the heck is anything being played? We don't know what's going on here. So it is going to be the Corki first picked for Sangal, and that means the Gragas will be stolen away for Supermassive.
Interesting. I wonder if Lonely Kid... Oh, okay, maybe not. Could be going into the jungle here. Could even find it going into support or in the mid lane. Flex picks on both sides outside of the Fiora right now. You could argue the same about the Pantheon. So Sengal currently showing very little. Their third pick could be what gives it away unless they pick up a support, which they have done with the Braum. Very strong pick. And now that Corki and Pantheon could go into a number of different positions. So right now, Supermassive Blaze are going to have to pick assuming things without really knowing for concrete where those two are going. Good draft by Sengal.
Yeah, taking advantage of being on that blue side. The Xin Zhao is very, very strong in the jungle. Certainly could be going in there, and you almost expect it. And the Garen making a return. It's been a hot minute since we last saw Garen's involved. Obviously, was very strong at the start of Origin Series back in June, but had a few changes since then. And now the Twisted Fate also coming in there, and the Lulu once again.
All right, so Gragas in the mid lane then. That's spicy. Unless there's something wild like a Xin Zhao going mid lane, which would not surprise me the way things are going so far. As in that last game. Camille mid lane, bit of a new one. Worked out really, really well for them. I like the draft from both sides. I'm a little bit worried about that top lane. Lonely Kid could have a bit of a bully fest against this Garen once an item or two come online. They've got the globals, and this time it's not just one. It's not only the Pantheon. You've also got the Twisted Fate. This could get really messy. Again, that early game aggression, I think, could be amazing for the side of Supermassive Blaze.
Absolutely. Let's get the game underway, ladies and gentlemen. Game 2 about ready to start. Sangal find themselves 1-0 down to Supermassive Blaze. Sangal so far have certainly been the better team, 5th in overall points, of course, whereas Supermassive Blaze down in 14th really haven't got much further than the first round in the monthly finals. So this could be a huge, huge step up for them here in August.
Oh, I got that a bit wrong, my bad. Actually, it's Sangal playing on this comp rather than, Supermassive Blaze. Got a bit too excited seeing the Pantheon come out once again, but as it shapes up here, let's see how this mid lane goes. It's the Fiora starting in the mid lane as well. So, okay, like I say, maybe you see a wild change or two. Drag us up on the top side, Fiora in the mid. What is it with things like Fiora and Camille? Things we're so used to seeing on the top side, currently finding themselves heading into the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. Obviously, if you use the sort of League of Legends and maybe you follow the LEC or the LCS, etc., then if you play Wild Rift, you'll find things are very different in terms of style, in terms of play, in terms of where you may find champions even playing as well. So it's very different. Obviously, has its own balance, etc., in there as well. And the fact is, some champions just play different, and some are better, some are worse. You know, it's obviously down to player preference. Xin Zhao, I would say, is certainly one of those very strong junglers right now, though.
I'll tell you what, Bambi has definitely been watching some of Doom playing over in Group A because he has been running away with so many games on the Xin Zhao. They catch up to the Garen here.
Sneaky,
Do they just ignore him? I think at that point they're aware he can't just dive right onto them. They really want to contest this blue, but there's no way this happens here. Nice and comfortably picked up for the side of Sangal.
I mean, that's simply a case of, yeah, you caught us out in game 1. It's not going to happen in game 2. And Bambi this time is going to try and go down. Is he going to try and follow down for an invader, or is he just going to simply go for his own blue in the scuttle crab? I think that's what's going to be.
Yeah, crab into blue makes sense here as well. Like, why not take it away?
Having a little peek, going to try and get him towards the Fiora there. Already used the pounce though, so won't be able to stun once again. We'll be able to get the reset in the second. Should be able to finish it off, and he will be. And that is a simple jungle pickup. No PC doing some good work, and we'll take the Wolves.
That's the early advantage they want this time round. Yeah, bit of a mistake by Nacris there, getting a little bit aggressive, being caught out. And as soon as that blue smite came out from Sangal, you just knew it was going to fall apart from there. And again, maybe they even caught one more out. Lonely Kid having to flash away. Should be safe in this spot, and no one's around to help collapse on this one. But even so, you've got the Twisted Fate coming up for a bit of support. Good team play coming out of Sengal so far.
Yeah, this is the start that they were looking for. But they were in a similar situation before. So a quick replay of that. We already saw it happen in real time. Not a
Smite is
lot
done.
he could do, yeah. Blue Smite, and then I think he gets the reset on the pounce. Yeah, there's the stun once again. Yeah, nothing you can do about that. Spear finishing things off. And probably looking is like, where's the lonely kid? Where's the lonely kid? Where's the support? Well, he'd already gone back to base, so he wasn't available to help out.
Yeah, it's the hard thing as well. You got a shoving lane in the Twisted Fate in mid lane. Garen's just Garen, obnoxious as all hell for the longest time. Always going to be in that way, I think. So you need to be able to match them in those lanes. So you are going to struggle, I think, a little bit for support. Whereas the Twisted Fate especially, looking to always be making moves. You've now got the ultimates online, let's not forget. So I'm waiting to see where the Pantheon and the Twisted Fate head to next. And even more exciting, I'm thinking about the next game already. Do we see the Pantheon banned out? Because whoever's going to be on blue side has priority of picking that if they want. We're already seeing how much of a terror it can be in the early game.
So you're already predicting Sangal taking this one. That's a pretty bold prediction 3.5 minutes into the game, but is there the future look right there immediately? But here we go. Okay, so Drake's up 27 seconds. Let's have a look at the lay of the land. At the moment, it is just a simple kill. Not a great deal to tell between the two teams. It is pretty even with just that 200 gold difference. So in terms of what's going to happen, it's going to be a case of who goes back, who goes by. Is there going to be any early aggression before that dragon spawns? Doesn't look like it.
I mean, Sangal, they've got to go back here because Call of X has got no mana. He can't be here for the start of this Drake, so no doubt they want to slow things down a little bit, buy up a couple of items. You've got the Rod of Ages coming out for the Twisted Fate. Everyone is spending right now, but immediately for Supermassive Blaze, they're saying, you know what? Forget about Dragon. We want the Herald, but are very smartly, I think, looking to back away because they know what the Pantheon can do.
Cheeky Destiny comes out from the Twisted Fate, and that just forces them to back away from that one and respect it. You know what? Half hit points, I think they're going to try and turn on that one. They've allowed it to completely reset, but they do have all 5 team members around here. The Xin Sao still only just coming out of base, so a long way away. We'll be able to get here just in time to maybe go for the Smite fight, but that's going to be a 5-man setup for Sangal. I don't think Bambi wants to risk it with that Mountain Drake up still down the bottom.
No. You flash for that and try and go for the Herald, you lose Drake straight after. Even if you manage to kill it, you still die. So you're going 1-for-1 at worst. At least here, keeping everyone alive, you can try and make something happen. They're saying, forget about the Drake, actually. I don't know about this, guys. I think they wanted to try and catch on to Nicer here, maybe force down top tower. But look how much they're giving away. They're not even willing to fight it right now.
They are way out of this game right now. They don't seem to be on the same page as Sangal. So, I mean, that was a simple read. It's like, okay, well, the Drake is up. The Rift Herald's there. It's the Mountain Drake as well, so you really want to contest that one. But just simply given across to Sangal, and that gives them 1,000 gold advantage now, and they're looking strong early game.
I think they're just too scared to fight them, right? Because, again, think about the stun stacking you've got with the Twisted Fate gold card into the stun coming out of the Pantheon. The Braum gets in the mix. You will pop someone if they go in hard like that. Really, you want Tulkas to get himself to his 100 AD to get the bonus. You want to find the Fiora getting a first item online. Gragas being a little bit tankier than he is right now. And a similar story for Xin, who, whilst he has very good kind of early 3-4 levels like dueling one-on-one against junglers, in team fights, he will just get popped. So understandably, want to slow things down a bit, get the items on side. They saw, for example, the buy coming out of the Rod of Ages on the mid laner. They just thought, you know what, we aren't really ready to fight this right now. Let's let both go and worry about the next Drake. So good enough to not lose the advantage that they did find themselves with ever so slightly. But now it's Sangal pulling ahead about 1k in the lead.
I would say a much more normal game for once. Finally, a slowdown. I mean, look, we've only had 1 kill in 6 minutes. This is pretty much just a normal game we would expect. Obviously, we've seen some of these games that have been absolutely wild with kills left and right and just non-stop. The lane phase almost disappears. But it does seem that everybody's respecting that lane phase. And I think that's down to, as you say, Supermassive. They want to just extend that lane phase effectively to get that farm going.
We got to about 520 in the last game before we found the first kill coming in as well. So both teams, I think, are being quite respectful of the other. Probably because so many are so scared about the snowball away from that first Drake and the Herald that you want to be careful with it. Looking to maybe collapse onto the Fiora here, who is alone. 4 members stacking up, but equally, Supermassive Blaze have got 3 coming in for assistance. They're never too far away, always ready to jump in and help out if they need to. And I think at this point, Sangal read into that too and just say, look, we stay here. They are going to stack up on us, and it is going to be a fight we do not want to take.
Yeah, it's a pretty scary team comp. There's no doubt about it. So they're being respectful. They are starting to surround this one now. They're going to try and go for it. There's the Xin Sao to try and separate the team. Wanted to get Nasira out, but instead, oh yeah, caught in the bushes. don't want that. Tank Gragas not quite yet, but they might be able to turn the kills back around. They get themselves 1. Can they make it 2? No. Kenko will be able to get away from that one. Doesn't work out, and in the end, it is simply a 1-for-2 trade, but the tower did go down, but they're not done yet. In they go once again. The Jin Sao trying to work it out. The stand behind me coming out and working wonders. That big shield from Kesko doing what it needed to. Limo will be able to survive.
Another really close fight, but 2-for-1 ultimately in favor of Supermassive Blaze. The Herald did get the second charge off on that inner tower as well, just as they went back in for that second engagement. Really close again, but even with the safer pick of the Corki on side for Cool FX, he's still one of the first going down in these fights. Look how far back he is here. Gets ulted back in by the Gragas. They flashes away and immediately burnt out by the rest of the team. Really good prioritization for Supermassive Blaze yet again onto those high damage, high value targets, and then trying to back away from there. They only lost their tank in response as well. Really good stuff, and the focus maybe from the side of Sengal. Don't really have a massive choice, admittedly, when you're being tossed about like a pinball by the Gragas. Not really the best.
Uh-oh, this is not going to be a good sign. 4 versus 1 doesn't sort of work out too well, but he does manage to get himself in. The Lulu comes up. That saves the day as well. Will be able to get away. Is the Doc going to finish him off? Looks like he had an Ignite on him there, ticking away. They will be able to take the tower from this one. That's a problem. As Turkas will be able to back away from this one. Oh, they're not done. They have to evacuate. You can't just sit back in the bush. And they will, in the end, get away. A tower for 0.
Yeah, they were so invested in that tower that we need this. We're fighting for it. We're staying. We're committing. I'm always nervous when you dive onto a Fiora because the outplay potential is real on that champion, but doesn't manage to walk away with anything magical. The support coming in, though, and again, from the right time from the Lulu. Keeps him alive. It's still a 2.5k-ish gold lead here coming out for the side of Sengal, though.
So far, the wild growth from Guys being the hero of the day, it seems. Saving not only the team fight, but obviously saving the day there on poor old Tulkas. Nacris, sorry, it was.
Oh, the timing,
but now we're
by the way.
setting up Inferno Drake. Okay, let's see. This is going to be a full team fight. Let's set this one up, Derry.
Yeah, I mean, Corki package online again as well at the perfect time, so picked up at the opportune moment. And that's why, again, you'll see a bit more conservation coming out of the side of Supermassive. They don't want to get themselves invested, but here we go, Sengal.
Oh, separated and completely caught out there. Couldn't get the wild growth down quick enough, unfortunately. And you can see the Lonely Kid already picked off. Nerkus May also going to be focused, though. Nasser's going to start turning very well.
Oh, my word.
Look at this. Can they get the damage down? The stuns come through, but Bambi is still popping off. He's still alive and manages to get in there. And that gives Tulkas the double kill. Oh, my word, indeed. A 3-for-2 in the end, but it does look like the Drake is almost certainly going to go to Supermassive. No, they don't want to risk it.
These team fights again, the focus from Sengal is questionable, and maybe they find more Tulkas going forward, but I think that Winter's Bite is going to be enough to keep the two alive and walking away here. Oh, the flash forward. That was a little bit cheeky. Didn't get anything from it. But again, the focus. They burnt through the Gragas first, and then you've got the Zinstan in there, ult on, Lulu ult on. The back line, they're just plugging away. The Kaiser sat there firing away pretty much free fire. The Fiora dancing around a little bit as well. And by then, Sengal had invested everything. They burnt through the front line, had no cooldowns left, nothing left to do any fighting with. And that's when you see it come back the other way. Watch. Lonely Kid goes down, and then the Zin comes in on the front line, gets ulted up, ult on himself as well, and he just stands in the front line. Look at this. Look at the damage onto the back 3 D-man. No one goes down. Even the Zin is barely burning because of the ultimate. And by then it's like, oh no, we've run out of cooldowns, we've got no more damage, and sure enough, Supermassive Blaze turn it back around. You should not be losing a fight like that if you're that far ahead, Sengal, but that is just a real typical, I see hero, I try and kill hero, oh god, it's the wrong hero. Now we're going to find ourselves getting burnt out.
And Tulkas was completely safe throughout that. The carry just sitting at the back, completely plugging away, keeping that damage down. Looks like it was a 5v5 engaged, certainly looking at one another. They want to get that tower down, but I don't feel this is going to be a great engage for Sengal. Not when Supermassive are all sat there with a tower. Stand behind me comes down. They're trying to work it out here. The Shin Sao is going to be the engage that they're looking for. They want to pounce in there, get that wild growth, knock everyone up, but this time it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Sengal really trying to force it, though.
I mean, this is the thing, right? They've just forced out the Zin ult, the very thing that, you know, ruined them in the last fight because they couldn't get the damage down onto Bambi. Now that's been burnt out early, very preemptively by Bambi. A big mistake. They want to do this again. Right call to try and kill it. Here we go.
Wild Growth will save the day, but it's going to be Sengal that try and engage, but again, it's under the tower. They have to be so cautious of this. They've lost themselves their AD carry. They have to back out.
It baffles me that, again, he's got Well, Flash is about to come back up, I think. You have Barrier on side. You have the support of your team around you. And still, Cool FX is the first one going down. It just keeps on happening, D-Man. And I'm not sure if it's a... I guess I'm kind of sure. It is... Oh, again, the top say bye-bye, Bambi. I mean, Tulkas is low. They won't want to dive for that too much. But again, even in the spots where it's really good focus coming out of Supermassive Blaze, you can't pin it all on Cool FX. You think after 2 maps of being dived onto constantly, you'd learn to back away and play things at least a little more carefully.
Well, it does seem that the long, drawn-out fight will get the tower. Okay, let's have a look.
It's just one of those ones again where all the ults kind of pile up. Yeah, this is the thing, right? And he's just constantly finding himself caught out. I will give Lonely Kid's ultimate a lot better than what we saw out of Nysa in the previous game. In this one, I think a little bit of an overinvestment by Bambi, not respecting the fact that you will get instantly stunned and blown up by the Pantheon, along with the damage coming out of the Twisted Fate. It's a little bit overzealous there in his attempt.
Nacres wants to try and get this Scuttle Crab down. Obviously, the vision for the Baron is pretty key right now, but it's going to be Sangal that will take that one. And while this back and forth has kind of been swinging into Supermassive's way in terms of team fights, you can see obviously Sangal still holding on to that gold lead that they've been sitting on. That's because they have the 3 outer turrets right now, whereas Supermassive still don't have any down yet. So there's gold effectively in the bank when they can get them. The question is, can they get them?
That's always the big question, right? You're looking towards the objectives again. It's a big one. I mean, yes, the Baron being on side, you wonder, can that be the next big focus for either of these sides? I'd be a little bit nervous if I was Sengal because they've had a 3k goldie, let's not forget. That has shrunk down to about 2k, which might make you say, well, Des, they're still ahead, so there's no problem, right? They can still try and focus on gathering around the Baron. It's the nature of these fights and how they keep on swinging towards Supermassive Blaze. There have been some good moments, some good highlights coming out of Sengal, but Supermassive are the ones, for my money at least, that are looking more dominant in these fights. If they 2-0 this, I will be shocked.
Yeah, this would definitely be a big upset. There's no doubt about it. Sangal will be shocked as well. And Supermassive, well, they will be almost doubling their points instantly, which would be fantastic for them. They're certainly not within a shout, I don't think, of upsetting the likes of Na'Vi and Unicorns of Love that also reside in this group very much at the top of the table. But here we go, Ocean Drag coming down. Let's have a look. Are they going to try and go for it here? Sangal trying to set themselves up already.
Just look at who they focus again. Lonely Kid was the one getting tagged up a little bit there, and in we go, Zin's in.
Is he going to get the wild growth? Yes, he is. That's going to bounce them up. And Cold Effect is in the middle of the enemy team. That's not where an AD carry needs to be, but he's managed to avoid the mitigation. Does finally go down, and now let's see how this turns around for them. Lonely Kid off the side there, trying to pick them off. They have lost Nacres now, but of course, keep your eye on Tulkas. Keeping that free damage down at the moment. Nisa's the only one with hit points. The revive's going to come around the back there, but look at Tulkas. Keeps plugging away, and that is a massive problem for Sangal. They just can't get that AD carry picked off.
Big question mark. Call FX frontline. Hello. Not really the kind of way you play this game, to be fair with you, buddy. But now it's another one being caught out, snapped up by the slow. That's going to be an easy kill coming through too, and this should be another 2 kills going their way. No big issue. Wild growth coming out for the double knockup. They get the clean. Supermassive Blaze. I said as well 2 minutes ago, I'm nervous about fights for Sengal, and they show exactly why. They get aced, and Supermassive Blaze are blazing into the future.
Yeah, I mean, we'll look at a replay of it in a minute, but I just want to look at like how he was out of position again, because that's 2 team fights running the AD carry, and I think he used the package, didn't he? I think he cut across the team with the package, and it just put him massively out of position.
I don't think he had the package, did he? I think he just thought W didn't know. No, he does a package. You
Where
are
is
right,
he?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Look at him here on the left-hand side, right? He dashes towards the back line, but you're in the middle.
There's the package, yeah, look.
They want you. You're on the Lulu. You're on the Gragas. You're sat in the middle of people that are going to polymorph you, stun you, get you knocked up, and sure enough, he's just playing damage control at that point. Both summons being burnt out. The Kai'Sa with a really smart ult towards the back where no one was able to protect the flank. It forces the Corki to flash back into the middle, and it's an easy burn down from there. It does devolve into a bit of chaos, but Bambi here is in the background on half HP, whilst everyone around him is on like 10%. It's the easiest burn through in the world, and the wild growth that you see come out in a minute. Really smart. I'm not too sure what it is the side of Sangal are looking for here. Maybe a smite steal, for example, but it just goes catastrophically wrong, and surely Baron should be on the card for the side of Supermassive Blaze. However, they are benefiting the most when Sangal are coming in with those really poor engages, so why not let them do it yet again?
Okay, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because he used the package, and I think what happened is he landed on the border between the blue buff and the river, and what it does is sometimes will plop you over the other side. Now, I think that's what happened. It obviously put him way too far. He's probably like, oh my God, I'm in the blue buff. I'm miles away. I'm completely out of position, and sort of panic flash and get out of there. And I think that just completely threw his game off that one moment. That's what I'm giving him. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt for that. Not convinced.
Just makes us so focused on what was going on as well, because both ults have been burnt on the top side now. Supermassive. They haven't got the big tanky ults they want. The amazing casks that have come out of Lonely Kid so far, not available for another 15 seconds or so. When that's back online, though, I feel that you're already at a point where on the attacking side, you're like, well, great, now we're a bit screwed. However, it's more the ultimate on Bambi that's down. Don't forget, he has been the big tank in these team fights so far. Gets that ult in, disperses the whole team. They get tossed around like a pinball by the Gragas. It all works wonderfully in their favor. When those two are online, that is their strong point. And here we go.
Oh, Bambi forced to get away, and that's the wild growth used as well. Did they see that? That's the question. Has got himself that Guardian Angel in there as well to keep him safe, but that's a real problem. Meanwhile, in the base, Fiora is continuing on the tower. Finally, will back away there. And I see having to do some work, and Nakras will back away, and that's going to turn the team on. They realize it is a full-on 4v4. You can see that Braum having to back away. He's safe at the moment. Tulkas goes gold. That means he's not putting the damage down, and for the first time, Tulkas got the focus in there. Bambi can go back in again, though, but that wild growth is still not available. Used up. Now it's free. So, will they go for the re-engage?
I mean, at this point, they've only killed one. It looks far worse than it actually is. In goes the the Garen, massive ultimate coming on top. They get the burn through on the other side, though. So it's pulled things down into a 4 versus 3, 1 for 1. It looked like the side of Sengal should be so much further ahead than they are, D-Man, but they're not. It's still only 1 extra kill, and 2 of their members are limping away, bleeding.
So, let's take stock of how that worked out. Sure, it looked like Sangal picked up some really good information. Oh, Bambi doesn't want to lose that Guardian Angel. And yes, they pushed and got a lot of damage down. But the fact is, Supermassive took down the bottom turret and almost the inner turret as well. That base turret, the inhibitor turret, nearly gone. So while that was all happening, the actual target, you win the game by taking turrets down, guys. That's what the focus is. Instead of just fighting, which I know a lot of people love to do, Sangal didn't really get anything for it.
I just get nervous. The more further into this game we get, the stronger the Fiora is going to be against the Garen. He's had to go full armor at this point as well, understandably. There isn't really a massive AP threat, but the catch onto Bambi. He's got GA as well. He won't be too worried about that. What the focus is going to be here is 100% this trait. This could be the kind of thing that looks to end a game as well if they're not careful, because what have we said time and time again? Cool effects getting caught out, bad focus from Sangal. Keep an eye on where they engage and where cool effects moves.
Elder Cloud up. Still, Nakras in that top lane. So they're going to start things off, leash it off. Oh, Lonely Kid's got to be careful here. You can see Bambi wants to get involved, but the rest of his team are not quite on the same page, but they're so scared of Bambi, they're completely backing away. And that's left Nicey, and Nicey completely separated from his team. Gets caught out. A wild growth catching all 4 members of Sangal out, and it is decimation from there. The Supermassive Blaze have absolutely lived up to their name, delivering. Lemoyne has to run for his life. This could be game right now.
Forget about calling them a blaze here, D-Man. Call them a black hole, because they are devouring everything before them. There's nothing that Sengal can do, and Bambi just walked at them. It's all he did. They march through the team, and they clean up off the back of it. What a series from Supermassive Blaze.
Absolutely devastating Sangal. Supermassive Blaze, their best performance so far in the Wild Rift Origin Series. They have yet to pass this stage in the Wild Rift Origin Series. And a brilliant performance against Sangal, a clean 2-0 sweep.
Really, really impressive. Again, given Sangal with a team that got knocked down to the lower bracket in both of the previous qualifiers or previous tournaments, coming up against UOL, they're knocked out by BK Rog. 2 pretty serious names in there. Yet here's Supermassive Blaze coming in and crushing them outright. Incredible 2 games, one with the global engage comp, the Pantheon, one playing against it, and they play it perfectly both times. I'm so excited to see what they can do in the next iteration of the Origin series, because that's super impressive.
What a series to start things off, ladies and gentlemen. That was Group B. We're going to be going over to Group C next after the break. We'll see you then.
Yep, and hello, this is us. We'll be your casters for the second series. I'm Yuko. Alongside me is Riku. So starting the day off with a 2-0, but now we will be having Cut Esports versus GK. Riku, expectations for the series?
I mean, it's Group C. We've seen a lot of exciting stuff when we talk about Group C. I mean, Cut and versus Sunlight. And, GK has been climbing their way here and there, coming within top 4 since June and July. So perhaps this could be a very close game.
A lot of familiar team names and even players. But of course, it's a new month. It is now August. So let's see what is gonna happen or what things will they have in store for us. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing more of maybe these Pantheon pickups, more power plays from the junglers.
Yeah, I feel like we are going to be seeing a lot of these semi-global picks like the Twisted Fate, like the Pantheon. Just, again, their early game prowess is just something to be feared, especially that when we're talking about side lane pressure. So I feel like this could potentially be the star picks, especially Xin Zhao. When we look back last month, the Xin Zhao top lane flexes in the from jungle to top could also be a possibility.
I honestly did not expect that Xin Zhao Baron lane or top lane, but they made it work. So if we're going to be seeing more of that, I would be very much happy to do so. So of course, let's take a look first for the names of our teams in this series number 2. Again, Cut Esports and GK. You have Risk, Boss, Joe, 6ix9ine, and Timos for the side of Cut Esports. And for GK, you have Hazet, Moha, Jotrex, Sultanos, and Farax.
I'm excited to see these players duke it out once more. Again, we're talking about Cut, who was able to get first place at the first month of June, but fell short up against Sunlight at last month. So, of course, they want to climb their way back at the tippity top, see if they can rack up as much points as they can. And, of course, we talked about GK. They were, I believe, 3rd place last month. And for June, they did fall to 4th place. So this is, with a new patch in consideration, I think this is going to be an exciting series.
Which team will be able to bag you number 1? Let's wait and see as we jump into our first pick and ban phase.
I wonder what is going to be the priorities this time around, especially 2.3. Remember, 69 last month had an incredible showing on a Kai'Sa pick. Maybe we get to see him on that very scary late game carry champion. But of course, you see GK now banning out the Senna. Not gonna put that into the equation. Lee Sin, of course, going to be an understandable ban. Again, it's such an a strong early game pickup. It's paired with so many strong early game top laners as well, just like the Renekton.
And well, we did see a jungler and a support ban. Now we are going to be having a mid lane / ADC ban. We will not be seeing Corki into game number 1. I was about to say Gragas could be open, but no, they still banned that out.
Yeah, for 2.3a, I mean, Corki has been nerfed just a little bit more on the cooldowns of the Valkyrie and the safetiness of a Corki, but it's still pretty scary with the AoEs, with the rockets going in, especially now Ziggs off the table. Seraphine. It has been a while since we've seen Seraphine. Well, not exactly, but we might expect an Olaf coming in for GK, though.
Possibly. I mean, they could pick that up. Also, yes, guys, you are seeing 2 Senna ban stats because GK was late for their call time, so they will not be having the full 3 bans. So going back into the draft, we have Xin Zhao and Nami being picked up. You already had the jungler for disengage, and now you have Nami as an engager, of course, with the tidal wave. I was actually surprised about the Seraphine first pick because I was expecting either a Galio or a Camille, but both champions went over to Cut.
Yeah, they really want to prioritize this. Usually when we see a Nami pick as well, you'd expect maybe a Lucian going to follow suit because Lucian with a Nami is such a scary pair, but they're going to pair it up with the Ashe. Remember, Ashe has been recently buffed with the Crystalline Arrow being, easily controlled. But to top this, GK roster, not roster, but composition will be a Riven. And I'm assuming that's going to be a top side, as we did maybe see a few jungle Rivens here and there, but Xin Zhao would most likely go to the jungle. And for Cut, though, they are going over to the Venn diagram combo, which is the Galio and the Camille. And to pair that up with an Assassin and a self-peel Xayah as their AD carry. So this is going to be very exciting indeed.
I'm very excited as well. And of course, without further ado, let's jump straight into game number 1. Let's see who will be able to get that first W. Again, this GK versus Cut Esports. And now we have our eyes set on this ribbon, which will most likely be the Baron lane. Xinjiao will be there at the jungle side. I actually want to talk a bit more about this Akali pick, which in the PPGL Icon series anyway, we don't see much Akali being open, but finally seeing her in the hands of Risk, Akali can pretty much just penetrate the back lines and most likely reach Firax, which of course is the main damage dealer for GK.
Yeah, that's the thing. They do have the Galio on their side. They do have the Braum on their side. So most of the biggest threats on the Akali is allied with Risk over here on this pick. So no fear. The only thing that Risk has to watch out for is if he's on a shroud, hidden in the shroud rather, Hazet can easily stun him with that big AoE as a Riven. So I think that's one of the only things that Risk should watch out for in this matchup.
That is true. And now looking at the mid lane matchup, Galio and Seraphine, maybe a few pokes here and there. And speaking of the Shroud, you were just talking about it. Risk already be picking that up just to make sure that Hazet will not be able to advance into his side. Jumping back into the mid lane, just a few pokes here and there. Seraphine does have the slight advantage earlier on. And now at the diagonal lane, just the usual skirmish here and there with the 2v2s.
And there's a lot of vision. You're talking about Xenon here on the Seraphine. There's a lot of vision going around for Cut Esports here. Lots of deep vision in the jungle of GK. So they want to make sure that they can keep track of Sultanas here on the Xin Zhao. Especially, again, we're talking about Xin Zhao, such a very scary early game ganker as well. We'll see if they're going to make moves around topside as he's looming over that area. No, he's just going to get the Krugs a little bit as GK topside does have priority.
Looks like that is going to be him. That is going to be Risk rather, seeing Xinjiao at backlines. Galio already popping or getting vision on as to where Xinjiao is, and that just made Xinjiao fall back. But looking now back at the Dragon Lane, that is going to be the arrows being sent out by Ashe. Few pokes, that is going to be the Aqua Prison connecting onto two, but no actual commitments just yet. Winter's Bite is going to connect onto one, but no actual commitments, no actual takedown. But that is going to be the stand behind me being popped, but that is going to be into the bubble. The Aqua Prison is going to connect again. There is no follow-up. You have the kites coming through. Feather's going to hurt a lot, but looks like they're still going to try to go at this very slowly. Ebb and Flow connecting. That is going to be the Hex Ultimatum being committed onto Ashe, and Ashe does say goodbye. At the very least, Nami was able to get one kill, and it was a 1-for-1. But as I was talking, Seraphine being able to take out Galio, so now we have 2-1 on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I think that's first blood in favor of GK there as we get to see them getting that gold lead, plus that extra gold as well. Just as you mentioned, Yuko, they were able to eliminate with that gank from Sultanos in the mid lane, considering that they had information that, the Camille was already lingering around the bottom portion of that area. Good thing though, Mi Judge was nearby, 1v1 though at top side.
I thought he was gonna fully commit. Risk still not gonna risk with the perfect execution. But looking back at this replay, let's see what actually happened in that 2v2 fight.
It was risky though. Tamola does have that heal, so that extra auto attack, they were able to get first blood, but unfortunately the jungle of Cut is lingering around the corners, able to get an exchange kill over to that AD carry. Biggest thing though as well in the mid lane, a successful gank coming from Sultanos. So they were able to get more kills on the board, especially we've seen how Xin Zhao's, when they're able to get kills early, they can spin out of control.
Right side still jumping back into the game, just under 4 minutes. Repelled as well as the first Drake will be up in 3 more seconds. Gallery coming with the reset, but you have Camille lurking at the side. That is going to be the B drop not connecting. Xinjiao, will you try and chase Camille? Looks like he will not commit, and he's just going to be very happy with the fact that he was able to push Camille back, because this gives him opening to try and get repelled. But Akali is lurking at the sides, and now you have 6ix9ine trying to take down this dragon all alone.
Looks like Risk is gonna get a bubble to the face.
That is gonna connect, but that is gonna be Risk being able to just jump into safety. Charlie shot has been popped yet again. Red team being able to get Cloud Dragon. At the very least, blue team will be able to get their hands on this Rift Herald.
Yeah, there was an attempt to try if Risk will be able to slow down the Rift Herald take, but the rest of GK were pretty much there and complete. And Cut, it is going to be an exchange. A dragon for a Rift Herald. A little bit worried there topside with Risk in Hazet doing a little bit of 1v1. Still, though, Risk must be careful. He is he's facing a Hazet with an Ignite, so especially when you take the junglers into account as well, as Sultanos was able to get that early kill. Looking at the items, you've got Black Cleaver already completed for Hazet. Curious to see where Sultanos is going to focus this Rift Herald on. Which part of the map do they want to open up first?
Camille also has the Triforce available, so that's just gonna give her more damage in, and maybe we'll be seeing more of her at the Baron lane or maybe even a Dragon lane. So Pink's going through the map, and I actually want to jump back to what you said earlier. Risk always does these risky plays. Like he always pushes the limit. I'm not sure if he will get taken down or will he get the kill, but I guess that's just his play style. But looking back, that is the Aqua Prison connecting as well as the Ebb Flow. But in the mid part of the map, Galio still gets bursted down by the Seraphine.
Yeah, but topside too. They were able to get to a dive onto Hazet there. A 1v2 situation. Risk is able to live, not even needing a flash over there. So that is a win for Cut if they're able to get First Blood Tower. But of course, they are up against a Rift Herald Unleashed in the mid lane. And GK will get First Blood, maybe a second charge over the second tier too.
Let's see, that is with the taunt connecting. You have P top one connecting as well. Now you have the Aqua Prison connecting onto Tidal Wave. That is going to be a quick knock-up and slow for Galio, but they are not going to be able to get the kill. Now there is a forced jump out, flash out for Nami. At the very least, they were able to get the second outer tier. Glacier being popped in there. Knock-up after knock-up. CC's after CC, but here comes Camille with the hook shot, but she does get stunned. Now you have Nami being bursted down by this Saya. Now you have the blue team being forced to jump back. Now we have 3-4 on the scoreboard.
That's a lot of value for GK on that Rift Herald. But the thing is, Cut was able to minimize, or rather get a bit of consolation prizes here and there. You know, 69 was able to get, 2 kills over that skirmish. And they were able to punish the overstay that GK has done. Let's take a look at that again. Again, value of the Rift Herald. And good job coming from the Braum to slow down the retreat of GK, to buy some time for the Camille to arrive. And, 69 coming from the side as well. So, they ran out, GK pretty much ran out of resources for that disengage, and therefore was Cut in the middle of retreat.
Overall, that was just Cut having or winning the Vision game, because look at the wards they had in that side.
That's a lot.
That's 4 red wards. So they pretty much split up that side of the map. But jumping back, now you have Seraphine and Riven still holding their ground at the mid lane. 6-9 will be alone at the Baron lane side. Is to be the tactical shift connecting, slows coming through, but there is no actual commitment just yet. Now you have DK just being very, very quiet and trying to play this one out conservatively, trying to turtle the game out. But now we have Camille just focusing on the buff. Seraphine's Encore is available, but I believe they're just saving that for a latter part into the game. Next Dragon is going to be up in 20 seconds, so I believe both teams are just getting ready for a possible Dragon fight.
Yeah, for GK is actually on a time limit here, because Cut Esports, when it comes to the 5v5s, they are clearly more comfortable in those scenarios. For GK, there's a lot of squishy targets on their side, and the disengage and as well as the heavy engage, especially up against melee with the Galio and the Braum, may serve to be a huge problem in the team fights later on. But we'll see though. GK already first on the board here with the Dragon Star, but 69 quite far away from all the fight.
Vijay connecting onto one. Now you have the Unbreakable coming through. Taunt is going to connect onto one. Here comes now. He's going to jump in. That's going to be the Anchor connecting onto one. He does get charmed. He gets knocked up. That is going to be the support saying goodbye. Now they have a 4v5. Akali. Could he jump in? Shuriken Flip is going to connect onto one. You have the Honeycrisp being popped as well. Sustain heals coming through for the Seraphine. Looks like this could possibly be a non-contested Mountain Drake.
Yeah, it's a 4v5 situation. They lost one of their frontliners, Timus. And now what's the consolation prize? Crystalline Arrow will not be able to connect, but it's just there for the threat to scare away Cut from taking down another tower from the mid lane.
I was ready to yell if ever the enchanted crystal arrow will connect, but apparently it didn't. So I just said, okay, I'm gonna calm down. Maybe in the latter part of the game, we'll see something like that happen.
Maybe.
But yeah, maybe. Now 5 points are coming through for Risk. Both teams basically are just possibly on the hunt. Red side could try and take down Riven or Ash if they want to. They know that there's no more encore for the side of GK, so they can just re-engage whenever they want. Baron is going to be up in 5 seconds, and if you're going to look at the Baron area, Cut Esports, one step ahead. They already have 2 wards placed.
Yeah, they've already got vision down, but 69 gets solo killed, unfortunately, in the mid lane. Most likely got caught. Actually, no ults were used. And most likely a little bit forward as the arrow will shoot from downtown. Will they get risk? Will they get risk? They do!
He did! Right, and that is the stuns connecting. Now here comes Riven jumping in. Stuns are gonna connect. Now you have the hero's entrance connecting onto one. The shot has been popped, and that is gonna be Shinjao possibly targeting risk. At the very least, they were near the turret, so they were able to make it out of their alive. Stuns again coming through for this Braum, but he has Unbreakable. Also, can I just say that Xenon, are you okay? You have 5 kills for the side of GK, and he has 3. This Seraphine really hurts a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine the encore plus the tidal wave. It's just a big chunk of magic damage to your face. So once you get caught with one skill, most likely it is going to be a chain of CC that you will most likely not escape. Good thing they've got Team Moose over there with the disengage as the Braum, and as well as the magic shielding coming from the hero's entrance from Joe on the Galio. So it's not a total terror of a combo when we think about Cut composition against GK.
I was about to say that none of the teams are actually touching up on the Baron side, but as you can see, you have Shinjao lurking in the Baron's pit, but he does get spotted out by Risk, if I'm not mistaken, but he just decided to jump out, but they almost forgot Riven alone at the Jagon lane side. He almost touched that turret. At the very least, Camille was there to hookshot her way and defend this turret. For the side of GK or the blue team, they have very good wave clear as well as Cut Esports. I mean, you still have Saya with those feathers.
Yeah, it's really hard to try and push GK down and try to siege. You will most likely have to kill 1 or 2 to effectively destroy a tower. And now Baron going to get attempted a little bit by GK, but they figured, hey, we don't have much information in the deeper jungle of Cut Esports. We'll just try to play safe, clear the waves. But we talked about this. The 5v5 of Cut, they're much better in that scenario. We'll see if GK is able to get picks here and there before comfortably setting up a 4v5 situation. They have they have everything. They have the big CC locks coming from Tamola and Xenon. They also have, again, the arrow, the enchanted crystal arrow that will be able to pick off from the side lanes, perhaps, especially when we look at the map. It's usually Risk or the Camille isolated in the side lanes.
And if you're going to look at the itemizations right now, Rabadon's already available for Galio, and you also have the Solari Charge Blade up for 69. So maybe you're going to be seeing more of these crazy or groundbreaking plays from Cut Esports. But UK, it's like they will just have to layer their CCs perfectly. Again, Baron is up, but the next Drake, the Ocean Drake, is already up as well. And you already have GK lurking into the Dragon Pit side. But you have Risk alone at Dragon Lane. That is the Twilight Shroud being popped. You have the 5-4 connecting as well. Here comes the Hero's Entrance connecting onto 1. Toss are going to come through as well. Here comes Braum being able to pop the Unbreakable, but here comes the other members of Cut Esports. They are going to jump in. Hex ultimate being popped there as well. Anchor connecting onto 1, onto 2, but you have the title being popped in and there. Taya saying goodbye. Now you have Riven being able to take Galio down. Double kill going over to Xenon. And it's going to be a killing speed now. The only champion left from that skirmish, this Camille, was just forced to jump back.
I was gonna say, it looked pretty beautiful. We've seen how the Featherstorm is able to dodge these scary AoEs that can lock 69 down, but it was pretty much overwhelming. The fact that practically Risk was just so low, it was 4v5 on paper.
2v1, will you able to survive that? Is it the yes? No, maybe he is okay. Beautiful heals coming through from this Seraphine. Cat is going to be Camille saying goodbye. A shot down for the jungler. Enchanted Crystal Arrow connecting, but the follow-up was just not there. At the very least, they were able to just push Risk back. 14 minutes in, it's 9-4 on the scoreboard. Gold lead in favor of GK.
Yeah, 5k gold difference in favor of GK, just as you mentioned. Let's take a look at that again. We talked about this, though. It is the pick potential that is incredibly strong for GK, and they've used this to the advantage. And, you know, basically, we saw Cut come in one by one. Their strength is in these 5v5 setups as well. GK is able to maneuver around that really well in that previous fight. Looking at the items, a lot of Rabadons on the board already with Risk, and as well as Joe. But in the meantime, Solari Charge Blade for the second item already for 69. So we're going to be seeing a lot of the crits that we were talking about, the Radiant stacks. But look at this Death Brush. We'll see if GK is going to be successful for this one.
I do not know why, but I'm holding my breath. But okay, no one actually went through. So GK is just forced to show their location. Now they're going to focus on getting Baron. Remember, Akali from Cut Esports is alone on the Dragon Lane side. So it is
Teleport.
a 4-5 situation, but unless we get teleports coming through, they are come together. That is to be a Glacier Fisher connecting onto one, on the two Shuriken Flip connecting onto one as well, but no further commitments. Enchanted Mr. Arrow not gonna connect onto anything, but you have the heals coming through for Cut Esports. Sustain is definitely right there. You have the stuns connecting, Heroes entrance in, Rampage going over to Seraphine, and now this is gonna be Cut Esports forced to jump back. Saya saying goodbye, Bishop connecting onto two. The damage from Seraphine is just too much for them to bear. Remember, Ashe is safe at the backline. Protobell coming through from Galio, and he was able to jump his way into safety, but overall that was a 3-0 in favor of GK.
That was a commendable team fight juggle, because what they did was they baited out a lot of important ults. The Camille, Misha's not gonna have a pretty time here.
Hextech Ultimatum will be able to win that 2v1. She is still a-okay, but that is to be the arrow connecting. Camille being able to flash out. It was a good try, but at the end of the day, that is going to be the Baron going over to the men in blue.
I was going to say, I said this before though, 5v5 in favor of Cut Esports. But the thing is, they blew so many important ults that, you know, GK was able to bait them out, reset the fight. You know, these are ults that unfortunately did not work out in Cut Esports' favor. And the moment that GK saw that the two important ults are gone, okay, it's go time. This is our fight. We can just kite them. We're seeing a lot of melees on the board. This is going to be a lot of slows from Furax there on this Ashe. It just works so perfectly. Their chase potential as well is humongous. We've seen that in that previous replay.
And even though Braum was able to block the Encore with the Unbreakable, just the damage coming out from GK was too much for them to bear. But at the very least, almost 18 minutes in, you have GK knocking onto the base of Cut Esports. Whew, that burst from this singer. Now you have the Encore being popped on top of that tidal wave. Saya, are you okay? But now looking into the mid lane, you have the Hextech Ultimate being popped. Then and there, Ashe saying goodbye. The, of course, Aquabirds are not gonna connect. Akali saying goodbye. Then and there, double kill going over to Xin Zhao. And it was a 3-1 in favor of GK. Heals coming through. Speed boost is there as well. They could focus on the Nexus. You have Galio, you have Braum. They do not have sufficient wave clear. They're focusing on the Nexus, and you have GK being able to bag game number 1.
Just such a huge upset over here in this series, and GK is able to, you know, assemble this composition with the slows from the Ashe, with a lot of utility with the Seraphine, movement speed, and the wombo combo of the Encore and the tidal wave. It just worked so well, meshed so well in that game, and Cut Esports had a hard time maneuvering around those, you know, said composition.
Initially, I thought Cut Esports would be the one on top for the late game, but it looks like GK, they have this 2 layers of ultimate that was just popped at the perfect time. But I believe we have something in store for us. We have the drawing board from game number 1.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at, I believe, that last fight in the Baron lane. And I feel like, you know, it is a very key point of the game. We talked about this on how this particular scenario on where I think this is the fight where, you know, no ults already. Teemos's ult is basically gone. No ult for Teemos anymore. No Featherstorm for 69 as well. Therefore, any of the self-peeling, any of the disengage means that it is go time for GK to keep pursuing this fight. They have so many slows. They have so much movement speed with the Seraphine and as well as the Nami. Just makes it so much harder for Cut Esports to run away, go back to base, and reset. And I just gotta hand it to GK with this composition for sure. They knew the fact that, okay, it's pretty scary with the 5v5 comp that Cut Esports has, but all they had to do was bait ult, and they're ready to go.
Can I just say that I'm so happy you actually wrote in the letters
Go.
G and O earlier. Go. Then and there. We casters feel the tension in the game as well. But yeah, that's basically the turning point, I guess, for GK. And this was one of the very important moments for them being able to get that first W. But let's see. Are we going to be seeing 3 games? Are we going to be seeing a 2-0? So it looks like it's time for game number 2. Really looking forward to seeing what kind of adjustments will Cut Esports do, given that they're now down in 1 game. Riku, what do you think could be their adjustment before they hop into game number 2?
For me, maybe a little bit of more early game movement, I suppose, and as well as early game dragon priority. I mean, they were able to try and secure the following dragons, but unfortunately, it has been GK that was able to take control of the dragon pit. I think it's because of how strong their pick comp was. So it was very, it put Cut Esports in a tight spot in that particular game.
So you're saying one of the things that they could tweak on for game number 2 is the draft, right?
The draft.
Yes.
The draft. I know. I'm excited to see what the draft is going to look like, what the switcheroo is going to be, if Cut Esports will decide to. Because on paper, Galio Braum on your team looks incredibly strong. There's a lot of disengage and as well as side lane pressure. So we'll see if the bans are going to be similar as we look at, Lee Sin and Senna already first on the board, like the previous game number 1.
Yep, they're gonna still stick with their first 2 bans. Now, Graga's still not gonna be available for the table. Sadly, I would love to see Explosive Cask, but no, GK don't want that. They don't want a very strong disengage ultimate up in the table. Still gonna be banning out Corki. And we mentioned this in game number 1. They could pick up the Olaf composition, but no, still gonna be in the ban area.
Yeah, Olaf can be paired with many things. I mean, in the previous series we saw tonight, we've seen the Lulu. Lulu is also another popular pair with an Olaf. So, GK just do not want that in the equation. But first pick, Xin Zhao once more. We've seen this region in particular they like to flex it either topside Xin Zhao or in the jungle. So we'll still see where the Xin Zhao is going to go. Nami, Lucian pair maybe for Cut Esports.
That is a possibility. I mean, you did say that the Nami Lucian combo is very, very strong, but now you have a Katarina. So now you have this very strong assassin that can burst down the squishy champions. And Cut Esports, they answered accordingly. You can't burst him down if you have a beefy frontliner that has taunt. So that's Galio right there.
Yeah, the easy CC lock again. It is going to be very, very interesting to see where the timings are going to be for the Katarina to go in, because you have that fear of that Galio. But of course, they're adding in a setup here with this, Alistar pickup. So there's the knockups, there's the headbutt as well. Akali's still going to be over towards Risk. So Cut forming a very similar composition with a little bit of differences here and there, mainly on the Nami pick and as well as the Kaisa.
Made me think, I guess, of course, this is going to be Kaisa safe at the back line. And if ever you have maybe Ezreal, Shinjao, or maybe even Riven trying to penetrate the back line, you're going to have an Akali greet you with her shuriken, with her 5-point strike. So that is going to be a lot of problem. A lot of burst and damage basically on the board. So without further ado, let's jump into game number 2. Let's see though, will we be seeing a game number 3, or will GK be able to close the series out with a 2-0? Will we be seeing a lot of 2-0s today? I don't know. I kind of want to see Cut Esports try and turn things to their favor, but you have a 3 champion unit here at the mid lane. Let's see if they'll be able to just stop Katarina from snowballing. One of the things that you can do to stop Katarina from going crazy is CC her to the ground. You have Hero's Entrance, you have the Hextech Ultimatum, you also have the Tidal Wave. So let's see, will Xenon be able to move around comfortably?
Yeah, there is the bubble as well and the tidal wave. So there is, just as you mentioned, a lot of CC answers to a Katarina once, the ult starts coming in. And I'm curious to see how this entire series is going to go. Because remember, Cut Esports, they were first place, Group C in this group back in June, second place back in July. And, they've shown how dominating they were in their particular group alongside with Sunlight. But we saw how GK has been slowly climbing in, 4th place from June, and then 3rd place last month. So August seems like a climb for this team, and they're looking pretty strong.
No other way but up, as I like to call it. So let's see who will be able to climb up. And looking back into the game, though, I mean, you have Katarina just making sure Galio will be kept at bay. But looking at the Dragon Lane side, the Kai'Sa and Nami is able to push back the Ezreal and the Alistar duo. As you showing Krishik Flip connecting onto one. Taunt could come through. Now you have the slows coming through from this team, but let's see the knockup after knockup. But that is going to be the first one going over to Akali. Let's see if they'll be able to get another kill. Xinjiao saying goodbye, but Xenon still going to be very much safe. Sadly, Shuriken Flip did not connect, so it looks like Risk will not commit.
Yeah, Cut Esports 3-man over here has a very strong level 3 spike. Sultanos on a Xin Zhao, also very good level 3 spike. But for Xenon, not a lot to give at this point of the game. So Cut is able to capitalize on their spikes, and they went on ahead. Meanwhile, for the bottom side, as we see the replay and as well as the little camera over there, looks like the gank, or rather the 2v2, will not continue as the bottom lane of GK is able to back away.
I actually thought they were gonna commit, but I guess they said, it's too early. Let's just try to play this one out safely. But looking back here at the Brown lane, Perfect Execution is available. Let's see if Risk will actually take the risk. That is going to be the 5 points connecting. He has his Assassin Mark being proc. Now he was able to jump out. That is going to be a try and a successful assassination coming through for this Akali. Will he commit? 5 point strike. Xinjiao just decided to jump back, and he also saw that Camille was in the area.
Risk be crazy over here on the 1v2s. I mean, there is a possibility for it to be a potential, second kill for Risk. But again, didn't want to go overboard, especially, he didn't have any summoner spells to work with. Let's take a look at that again. We talked about this, the Shroud, easy AoE stun from Hazen, but it didn't matter as Risk was able to basically dodge most of everything that Sultanas wanted to dish out. He's able to escape. Again, Akali, a very, very slippery champion, especially given to a very, talented player such as Risk.
He seems to really love this Akali. I mean, as game number 2, he still has his hands on this champion. Jumping back into the mid lane, just the usual love taps here and there. But now Xenon's going to go in with the recall. Try to Shroud has been popped in again. Camille nowhere near the area. So if ever Hasty could try and go with the 1v1s, instead he is just going to focus on clearing out the wave. Looking back here, down at the bottom lane, the Ocean Drake is now up. Rift Herald is up as well. That is the headbutt connecting. Let's see if there's going to be a follow through. Now you have Camille saying hi, saying hello. You have Ezreal jumping in. He has the mystic shot, but Xinjiao gets bursted down. He was forced to just use the Essence Flux just so he can jump back into safety. Now you have Cut Esports focusing onto the Ocean Drake. The Afrovision is not going to connect, but let's see if they're going to let this dragon go, or will they still go with the full ultimate stuns coming through. Now you have Riven there at the front line. Let's see Alistar saying goodbye. That is going to be the Twisted Mirage connecting onto one. Galio saying goodbye. Here comes Katarina focusing onto this target, and Nami saying goodbye. It was a 3-1 in favor of GK.
And they were able to buy some time for Sultanas to come in and join the fight. And now he's able to cancel out the Camille's port back. Looks like he's safe for now. Look at that discipline.
Oh no, looks like he's not going to be safe. Risk just going in. The killing spree going over to Akali. And whew, the damage on this assassin is definitely felt.
I mean, absolutely cannot blame Sultanas there. I mean, the Camille was basically all alone, wanted to port back. But here comes round 2 over this Ocean Drake here for Cut Esports. They are going to be able to secure this, no problem. But at what cost? Actually, they have been winning because Risk is able to get early kills now. Already 3-0-0. We'll see if Cut will decide to just get First Blood Tower. So even though GK is able to get this Rift Herald, they won't get First Blood Tower for the team. And we'll see what they decide to open up. Either they want to equalize the map, go over bot side, or open the map for Hazet at top side as well instead.
Looks like they could summon the Rift Herald here at the Baron lane side, but as you can see, Cut Esports already taking down the second turret. Now you have Riven coming with the recall, could try and defend the turret, but I think it's going to be a tad bit too late. At the very least, GK, they are going to try and go with the trade.
Still going to be the trade with Cut Esports winning the biggest pie on the pizza. No, the pie. As they get 2 towers down at bot side and 1 charge only for this Rift Herald, as Risk is way over there already defending the following charges. Let's take a look at the fight over at the Ocean Drake earlier, as again, this was a 4v5 situation. GK had a lot of pokes actually, and I really want to commend Xenon here. He waited for the perfect timing to go in, where everybody was pretty much low after Firax's pokes from the Ezreal, and it's basically cleanup. He's able to get a double kill off of this. Now, we won't get to see the replay, the cancel of Sultanas's, or rather of the Camille support back, but it is still a problem. They still have Risk being one of the huge problems on the Cut Esports side.
They do. And I guess this is just a signal for Ezreal and Katarina to try and go in with the farm. You have the IK Rain connecting onto one that is in the jump and they flash in. But oh no! That did not actually merit to anything. So now Cut Esports, they know heal and flash down already for Alistar.
Yeah, GK wanted a setup for Xenon. On, you know, the pulverize all the knockups in the world, the CC, to help, again, set up Xenon on the Katarina, but unfortunately it didn't work out. Yes, flash lost, so this Alistar is going to be very vulnerable on the next fight. We'll have to see now what the plan is in mind as we take a look at the itemization. Rabadon's already completed for Risk, Triforce already for the Camille, but more mana fully stacked to fight.
Being popped in there. Now you have the Hexing Ultimatum as well as the Trisha Barrage being popped in there. Katarina, the first one to actually get taken down. Now Ezreal saying goodbye as well. You have Nami safe with the backlines. You have a tactical sweep being used by this Camille, focusing that is going to be the tidal wave connecting onto 2. And now Cut Esports very much happy with taking down not just the Katarina, but as well as the ADC. They could try and get Baron Lane turret, and now they're just going to place wards all around to just light up their map.
I'm smelling a game 3 over here. Cut. You know, their conditions, look at them. Risk and Camille are getting a lot of kills already on the board. And let's take a look at that again. So it was an Arcane Shift forward. So an Arcane Shift forward means you're very, very much vulnerable to anything that comes your way. And that is exactly what we just saw. Another fight in the mid lane.
Grandpa's going over to this Risk. Trisha Barrage being popped in there. You have the knock-up. You have Shinjao being taken down. That is the B-Risk down to the last bar of his health. Tidal Wave coming through. You have Camille focusing down on the Riven, but the damage is not enough to take down this Camille. Also has that passive being popped. Now you have the taunts connecting. Double kill going over to Camille. Rampage at that. Ezreal saying goodbye. It was a 4-0 in favor of Cut Esports. I think we have this thing called Caster's Curse, but I think when I said I kind of want to see a game 3, Cut Esports, they said, okay, hold my beer, I got you.
Yeah, game 3 could be incoming. Let's take a look at this replay again, because I want to point out something very, very interesting. But anyway, Trisha Barrage coming from downtown. That means Firax is not present in this fight. Teemos being alive with the tidal wave means that Cut can still chase. Okay, the replay wouldn't show that part where I wanted to point out, but it was the bubble. You know how people, the instinct, either you want to go towards the honey fruit, that's the aim. Teemos did it so well, and Firax was unable to escape because, again, you're magnetized by the honey fruit. You just want to get some heals there.
You want to get that sustained, but now you have the Baron already up. Cut Esports pushing themselves at the mid lane. Not sure if they're gonna pick a fight or go straight to the Baron, but Galio as well as Camille is searching or lurking at the sides. Risk is gonna make his way down into the bottom lane to clear the wave again. Make sure that they have this very healthy number of minions pushing into towards the lower half part of the map for side of GK. Again, Baron is up. Kai'Sa looking at the sides. Ultimates are available for both teams. So let's see. They could pick a fight at the mid lane or maybe near the Baron.
It is Cut Esports' control now. They have 2 dragons. Now they're trying to build more territory. They're trying to lay down a lot of these deep vision to see if they can, catch someone off guard. Especially Risk has been, doing this pressure at the side lanes. We'll have to see though, another fight.
Kai'Sa ultimately connecting onto one that is going to be the kill going over to Kai'Sa. Katarina saying goodbye, but you have the knockups coming through from this Alistar. He was able to isolate one, but that's the Galio. He has stun and he's very, very tanky. At the very least, GK is going to fall back and the Cut Esports being happy with that 1-2 trade. This is the green light for them to take Baron. On top of that, Risk is actually in too deep. He is poking the last turret at the Dragon Lane side for GK.
Yeah, and Firax is not going to be able to 1v1 Risk. He is humongous in this game. And look at him. He's still in too deep at the deeper parts of GK's, base earlier. And still no fear, even though there are no vision. He has no flash now, but he still has a lot in his kit to just survive and escape anyone that decides to pin him down over his split push duties. Now, Baron has been acquired by Cut. They are going to be, again, sieging. We'll see what GK decides to do as they are going to go defense.
4-12 on the scoreboard in favor of Cut Esports. Gold lead, 10k gold lead in favor of
I
the
love
red
those
team as well.
question mark penguin.
I love those moments where they just pop a sticker and then, okay, looks like someone's confident. But yeah, still slowly applying pressure at the mid lane. You have Risk isolated again, but you have Camille focusing on Alistar and he does get taken down. Has wave coming through. Now this is the signal for Cut Esports to fully commit. Tusha Barrage is gonna hurt a lot, but no one still got taken down. Now you have Shin Zhao trying to maybe go up against this Akali, but they left the mid lane vulnerable, which is the reason why Cut Esports will be able to clean out the outer tiers at the mid lane.
Yeah, they're doing a 1-3-1. Take note that 2 of the split pushers from Cut Esports managed to get early kills, and this is what we're seeing now. This is what GK is feeling right now.
The tactical speed from Camille already hurts a lot, and now they are slowly clearing out all of the turrets. You also have the minions there. They're focusing onto the Nexus, but GK, will they try to pick a fight? They are taking their time. Social Barrage is going to be used then again, but no actual fights. I guess Cut Esports, they still respect this Katarina. They still know Death Lotus is up, and one mistake could cost them the game, so they're going to back away and maybe get the Mountain Drake.
This is a humongous gold lead from Cut Esports right now and full control over this game number 2. They're going to get the 3rd dragon of the game, and that's 3 already for them. GK, no choice but to defend their base. All 3 gates are basically open, and Cut, they're aiming for that game number 3 in this series.
They really want to push their limit here, push the series to a game number 3. Risk again is gonna commit onto the isolated assassin that he is. Will he be able to survive this one though? Alistar trying to set his eyes on the prize, but Risk is gonna be a-okay. Galio still stuck there at the base. Pink's coming through. Looks like they want to go with a surprise fight, but no teleports actually coming through for Cut Esports. Camille is gonna focus on clearing out the wave at the top part of the map. They are waiting for an opening. Tidal Wave is gonna connect onto 2. There is no follow-up just yet because the kites jumping in. You have the initiate coming through for this Alistar. Will they be able to get this? Will be dominating going over to Camille. You have the Heroes Enders connecting onto 1. Now you have the taunts coming through. Katarina saying goodbye. Now this will be Cut Esports being able to get the kills and eventually get the game to win and push this to a game number 3.
Yeah, gotta love, Group C with their close games. We're talking about last month, it pushed to a game number 5 as well in their finale. And now GK, they were able to win game number 1. We'll see now who takes this first win, especially, in the very first day of the Origin series for August.
Man, that was just a beautiful draft coming through from Cut Esports, and I guess they executed it a lot cleaner rather compared to game number 1. GK did not have any room to breathe. At some point, Alistar, he knew he needs to initiate. He knows he needs to flash in, maybe get in with the pulverize, but he just cannot find the target. So let's take a step back and let's see the highlights from that game number 2.
I think the biggest problem that GK had to face is the level 3 power spike as we take a look at what just happened in the early stages of the game. First off, Risk was able to get that early first blood, and as well as this 1v2. It was amazing. Risk was able to maneuver around, go to the Shroud, and then just burst down Hazet and is able to escape. So no exchange skills whatsoever. Risk was able to get away with these skills, and he was able to balloon up into such a huge monster to the point that GK had no answer for Risk.
That was actually a good headbutt, but he got greeted by a taunt, and then there you have the response for the side of of course, Cut Esports. They were able to go in with a cleanup. At the very least, this was, I guess, one of the moments that I did see Xenon, or I did see Katarina shine. But other than that, she was just left to wonder, who's my target? How am I gonna penetrate the backline? And Cut Esports, they were just able to layer these CCs, these taunts, and they were just able to set a clear path for Risk to take.
Yeah, it is the setups that we saw. We saw T-Moose is able to get the tidal wave down, get the heals on the board, able to assist Camille as well. And the Galio coming in, Joe with a hero's entrance when needed, when Risk is isolated from, the solo lane split push. The solo lane split push basically, either from top or bottom. It's just the perfect formula, perfect setup to let Risk and the Camille shine as well.
I actually love the 2-champion heroes entrant. After the knockup, Camille jumped in immediately with the Hextech ultimatum, and GK, they just had no other choice but to prepare themselves for a game number 3. So this can be the first full 3-game series for day 1. Huzzah! Looks like when we cast together, we see a lot of game 3s.
Yeah, I think that could be possibly the trend, maybe patch changes and a lot of, growth from the Origin series since June. So this is, I love it, a game number 3 coming in on the first day.
And of course, speaking of game number 3, let's take a quick look and a possible last look at the team roster before we jump into the pick and ban phase. Who will dare to be wild in the Rift? Again, this is Cut Esports and GK. Last game for series number 2. Let's see what kind of draft will they have or will they show for us. So again, we have been seeing a very good Akali plays for Risk, a lot of good engages for the side of Cut Esports. But GK, let's not count them out just yet. Once they get the lead, they just snowball up onto the late game.
Yeah, I feel like either get the Akali, ban the Akali, or get the Galio for yourself. I feel like there's a lot of value, when you want to play around or against and take away any of the strengths that Akali can use to flourish, like what we saw in game number 2. So maybe we get to see a difference in bans this time around.
Let's see. We did see a Seraphine ban in game number 2, so that's something they could still hold on to. Xenon, even though he had an amazing start for Seraphine, he kind of struggled on the Katarina. So we could be seeing a new mid laner for this player. Maybe a Twisted Fate, Fizz, Fiora. A lot is still in the table.
Yeah, Twisted Fate. I think it could possibly be a very interesting selection, especially, Destiny. When Risk hides in the Twilight Shroud, you're gonna get revealed basically as well. So perhaps we get to see a Twisted Fate, maybe Twisted Fate versus Galio, maybe when the Ziggs is unleashed. We'll have to see.
still gonna be a Senna ban. They really don't want this champion with the global ultimate for the heals. And Cut Esports, they do not want this monk in the Rift. So finally, we're gonna be seeing a Camille ban. I was actually wondering why we're not seeing Camille bans. But yeah, we won't be seeing any heist ultimatums now in game number 3. There is a chance Gragas could be open. No, Olaf could be open.
Olaf is open. Actually, it was GK who did ban out the Olaf earlier. So Seraphine is open. Seraphine Olaf is a very common combo, just because again Seraphine allows the whole team to join you in the fight once Ragnarok is initiated by the Olaf. But GK will decide to opt for, okay, we're gonna hit the Xin Zhao. Maybe we flex it at topside just for that mystery, or maybe put it on the jungle and see how it's gonna go. And just as I said, Seraphine and Olaf, we talked about this, is a very common pair, and usually the pair that propels the entire fight.
And now you have the Lulu being picked up by GK. I was about to say that with Gragas banned, the next best thing, I guess, for a disengage is the Xin Zhao ultimate. So maybe that's the reason why GK would prioritize this champion. Now, they took the Seraphine. Now GK said, we will take your Akali.
Yeah, and Akali plus Lulu too. So that means the survivability plus with the wild growth of an Akali or maybe a Xin Zhao when going deep into the fight will increase exponentially. And you add in a Riven as well. A wild growth Riven is not going to be pretty for Cut Esports. So I am excited to see how the fights are going to go, because this is similar to what GK assembled in their game number 1 victory. Meanwhile, for Cut, I'm seeing a Renekton. I'm excited to see how this is going to pan out for Risk, especially he had a phenomenal game in his Akali in game number 2.
I mean, if you just want to survive against Akali, just pick a Baron laner that can survive the early game. Of course, you have your friendly neighborhood Crocodile Renekton on top of the boards. With all of that said and done, you have the drafts, you have the bans. Let's just jump into game number 3. Still, let's see what is gonna happen. I'm actually looking forward to the Dragon Lane fight here. Who will be able to snowball first? Who will be able to just land those CCs? Speaking of CCs, a lot of CCs for the side of Cut Esports, not just AoE, but also single target.
Yeah, from the Leona as well, and from the Renekton, there is a lot of CC on the board that is able to lock GK down, considering that, GK, they do have some form of disengage with the wild growth, but at the same time, everyone is pretty much squishy. I mean, that is the reason why Lulu is very important. Make a squishy champion less squishy with your wild growth and your shield. So we'll see now in the fights later on, if Sultanos, especially if they're able to get, get ahead early, especially when we look at top side.
Now you have, that was Timu's just overstaying his welcome, but they're gonna focus on till this Lulu stuns are gonna connect, and that is gonna be the kill, going over to 69 even. So a beautiful first blood, a beautiful start for the ADC on Cut Esports.
Usually when you want to put a strong level 3, level 2 spike behind, you take advantage of their level 1. Try to kite them down, especially you're in this matchup, melee, and then you're both range with range support on the Lulu. But that didn't happen because we saw everyone in the mid lane soaking up experience, clearing the wave to get priority for Seraphine, for Joe. So we didn't get to see that level 1 tussle that we usually see. And, it was Tamola, unfortunately, that had to take the blunt of the hurt from Timus and 69 over there at bot side.
I guess at the very least, their ADC was not the one that got taken down. Now, besides they is coming through for Risk, gonna focus on this Akali, but Xenon will be able to just pop in and try to Shroud and just protect his way under the turret. Now you have this Olaf. I thought he was gonna go in with the gank or the engage, but looks like he's gonna try and go with the recalls. He is holding his ground. Could try and help this Kai'Sa as well as the Leona. He is still not being spotted out. Now, looks like it's gonna go back into default as Ashe as well as Lulu will just target the minions. Have the Void Seeker connecting onto none, but then there's gonna be a lot of arrows being taken by the bot lane duo by Cut Esports.
Yeah, they can just keep doing this. They can just, let Forax be able to poke out with the arrows, with the volley. Sultanas, though, sensed that, okay, most likely cut bot lane, decided to go back home, buy some items, reset, not risk overstaying their welcome, especially level 5, a very critical point of the game. You've got a lot of single target stuns with Forax as well on the Crystal Arrow, and as well as the Wild Growth for the disengage. So this is extremely important. Whatever Timus decides to stun fully, most likely Tamola will be able to get that Wild Growth on the board.
Problem is, if ever it's a 2 or 3 champion, if the ultimate rather will connect on the 2 or 3 champions, so Tamola will just ask, who do I prioritize? Are we gonna go with Riven? Are we gonna go with maybe Ashe? So let's see what is gonna happen in the latter part of the game. Shinzhou lurking at the dragon at the Baron lane side. Olaf is there as well. I actually like the Riven and Seraphine matchup. The moment Riven gets close, it could possibly be the end of Seraphine, which is why Joe is just playing it out safely or conservatively in the early game.
Yeah, it could be a little bit risky. A good thing, though, this is, Joe being very extra careful, managing the range, making sure that Joe is not going to be in kill range whatsoever. He does have some heals, so that's a little bit of that win over there in the lane. Look at Xenot. He's pretty low from the 1v1 between Risk. Therefore, decided not to pursue that, especially Risk has been carrying Ignite, so Risk could possibly look for kill maybe later, as we take a look at Rift Herald now being started by Cut Esports.
You want to focus on the objective game. You have the wards coming through, but he does get meet by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Have the Onk connecting as well. You have the beat drops connecting onto no one. That is Nibiru Knights being taken down. Now you have Timo jumping in. He is being targeted by the members of GK. Now you have Ashe in the backline. You have the ultimates coming through by this Leona. He jumps in. He flashes in with that Ragnarok. Now this is the time for Cut Esports to go in with the re-engage. That is the via Killer Instinct in 469. Leona saying goodbye. Knockoffs coming through, but you have the Undertow connecting onto none. Now that is going to be a 1-1 in favor of no one, but maybe in favor of Cut Esports because they have their hands on this Rift Herald.
Yeah, they were still able to get the space that they needed despite the Encore not hitting quite right. The Solar Flare only slowing down 1. At the end of the day, that Ragnarok timing coming from the Olaf was able to basically scare away the low health targets of GK. They were able to get Forax off of that fight, off of that skirmish. And now we'll see if Cut is able to get 2 rewards. They got the Rift Herald, now they're aiming for this dragon. Take note, Cut still hasn't done the reset. GK already did.
They did. That is going to be a initially coming through from Timus, but he does get CC'd to the gun. I have the beat up connecting onto 2. Here comes Xenon at the front line, being able to burst down at Leona. Stuns coming through. Akali saying goodbye though, and you have Risk being polymorphed. Now that is the green light for the side of GK. I mean, this is the red light for the side of GK. They are gonna fall back. Risk was able to pop his ultimate already, targeting this Lulu, but he does not have flash anymore. Now you have a 6-9 trying to defend his teammate. He has shields, and Risk is still A-okay.
What? 69 sacrifices his barrier to make sure that Risk was still safe and sound. And it looked a little bit dicey for him because, again, it's so hard as a melee when you can't reach an Ashe and you're forced to back away and all you eat are slows from her arrows. Let's take a look at the replay again. This was the fight near the Rift Herald, and it was the Wild Growth being targeted onto Hazet there, but a lot of the ults already gone. No Wild Growth means that GK pretty much squishy, and that is basically the go signal for the Olaf to go in. Timos with a really nice max range Zenith Blade as well to slow down, the retreat coming from GK.
They definitely waited for that, and now you have GK targeting this dragon. Could be non-contested, but at the very least, Cut Esports, Risk rather, is alone at the Baron lane side. Now you have Akali making his way into the Baron lane as well.
That could be a 1v1 actually.
That is going to be Risk being targeted by Xenon. Now you have the perfect execution being popped in there. And he was able to burst down your next, and Xenon being able to win that 1v1. And he could even take the turret.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't prepared for that. I mean, in bot lane,
Looking at the bot lane though, here comes the possible revenge kill, but Timo's, a lot of slows coming through, but he is A-okay. He was able to survive that one. GK will just fall back. Seraphine as well as Olaf alone here at the mid lane. RD being able to summon Repel to at least try and even things out. Enchanted Piercing Arrow gonna connect onto one, but here comes Timo. So you have the beat up connecting and also the Encore connecting onto one. Now you have this Xin Zhao in the middle of everything. Wild Growth has been committed onto the jungler. That is gonna be Olaf focusing onto Lulu. He is gonna overcommit. Riven being able to get that kill. Now you still have the Repel up and running into the mid lane.
Yeah, everybody had different targets there, and it resulted into the scattered 1v1s that we saw in that fight. And, you know, unfortunately, Joe had to eat a crystal arrow to the face and had to basically eat all the damage coming from Sultanos earlier. But at the end, we got to see the Olaf be able to secure another kill as well. So I think on paper, it is pretty much even. I think the biggest question is how they can contain Xenos here, because he is able to solo kill Risk here with no worries, no problems whatsoever. And imagine if the Wild Growth was pretty much focused every time by Tamola on this huge Akali. Xenon had already pretty much picked up this Rabadon, so I feel like this could be a potential threat that Cut Esports has to take into account.
The arrow did connect onto one, but now they are going to go with the re-engage. Now you have Ashe at the front line, still going to go and try to kite Risk down, but Risk will be able to walk his way into safety at the mid lane though. You have 3 champions focusing onto the mid lane turret. Cut Esports running this 1-3-1. Will they be able to get that? Of course they will, but will GK do something about this? Of course they will as well. Now you have the Beach connecting onto 1, onto 2, but that is going to be so much damage being dished out by Xenon being able to get a double kill. Rampage at that, killing spree going over to Hazet, and Cut Esports left to die with their 2 teammates down. 3 rather, teammates down.
Oh boy, again, Xenon going to be a huge problem for Cut Esports here. And GK is going to have free reign for the next, 5 seconds on the clock. They won't risk it and push for the second tier as the rest of the members of Cut are basically up, alive, and well. There is still 1 tier, 1 tower left, which is on the bottom portion of the map. But it is now almost a 10-minute mark. It means Baron is now going to be spawning soon. And we'll see as GK already pinning the dragon portion of the area. And the biggest question is, by then, if they decide to pursue the dragon as well in a 5v5 scenario, will they be able to deal with Xenon there? They have the stuns from Timus. They have a lot of these AoEs coming from Joe. And the biggest question is, will they be able to isolate and make sure to punish any sort of super aggressive plays coming from this Akali?
I see that Death Rush, but Cut Esports no longer going to commit to answer. Yes, they can actually deal with Xenon, but the problem here is once they commit all of these on-point CCs, these skills, the re-engage from GK will be very strong. So it's not sure if it's a pick your poison kind of game for Cut Esports, but I guess they just have to target or at least ration rather their skills properly. Now you have Risk the front line, also have GK lurking into the bush area. Xin Zhao focusing onto the Rift Scuttler will still go into the hands of Akali. Maybe Ashe will be safe at the back lines. Void's here gonna connect onto the ADC. Ocean Drake is now up, and we could possibly see GK. I thought they were going to go with the Dragon Dance, but GK made their way up into the Baron. They're going to let the Ocean Drake go. Xenon going to be a very hot target for Cut Esports. He is being boxed in. Will he still make it out of their ally? That is maybe a yes. He was saved by the Twilight Shroud, but that means Baron is already being started by GK. Anchor gonna connect onto none actually. No follow-ups there as well. This could be a steal if they want to. Let's see if they'll be able to go to the answer. It's gonna be no. Blue team actually was able to secure that Baron Nashor. Now, after getting the objective, they could just fall back. But here comes Cut Esports. They want to get the kill. They want to go with the fake off. Leona saying goodbye. Ashe being able to get that kill, but she actually risked her life then and there. She gets bursted down by this Olaf. Now you have Risk focusing onto Riven. Riven jumping out. You have the stuns connecting. Flash out as well. Would be enough. The answer is going to be no, because I mean, you have a scary crocodile right behind you. Voidseeker not going to connect. At the very least, he was able to get the honey fruit.
There's so much cooldown. Look at Xenon there. He's going to jump in. Whoa!
Okay, Wow, that is the burst coming through for Seraphine. Seraphine saying goodbye. It took me a second to digest what actually happened. That was a
was
5-point strike. And
yeah.
I don't know what happened. Bye, Joe, I guess.
It was a very, very. I mean, Xenon is just killing it here on this Akali, and I really love the matchup that we're looking at, the Baron lane matchup that we have. Let's take a look at the Baron replay. Baron fight once more. Sultanos had that wild growth, but unfortunately, it's not enough. Again, an Olaf on Ragnarok is literally unstoppable, and they really had to deal with that. Double kill for him there. Hazet actually bought a lot of time. But Xenon actually gets another kill because the Olaf was pretty much all alone in the jungle of GK over there. And they had to deal with that 1v1. Again, no Ragnarok means that it's going to be susceptible to any sort of CC that can hold and pin him down.
Speaking of pinning him down, you have Hazet just eating that beat drop, but he was still able to survive that one. So what happened there was you have the enchanted are already being committed in the earlier parts of the game, and the first one to actually fall down was Olaf. So GK being able to juggle that 4v5, they rotated over to the mid lane to at least clear out the outer turrets. Now they could box risk in. I mean, if you're gonna have 4 champions chasing after you, I'd pray to all of the gods that I know. Now Cut Esports, they could try to go with the engage. Ultimate is now up for Teemos, but just in time, GK said, nope, let's not overstay your welcome. Let's go with the recalls, get few more items in, and possibly pick a fight at the mid lane.
Yeah, they were able to maximize this Baron buff. They took out the mid lane and as well as got a bit of other kills here and there. Now let's take a look at the itemization now. Lich Bane completed already for Xenon over here. So he is definitely going to hurt even more. A lot of bursts coming in. And we've seen that before. And Cut pretty much has a very squishy-ish composition, maybe minus Teemos. But at the end of the day, he's able to wiggle around the Crystal Arrow. No!
It will connect, and here comes Xenon. Rest, will you be able to survive that SDB? Yes, he was able to use literally all of his resources just to survive that one. Now he is going to be vulnerable should GK try to pick another fight. Baron is going to be up in 17 seconds, but now you have a 6-9 looking for the next possible target. Apparently, no one is near his area. Ragnarok still available for this Olaf, and it looks like Cut Esports now, they were the ones that were on the hunt, but now they're the ones playing it conservatively, and GK is now the one that wants that bloodshed.
Yeah, they want some blood for sure. They've got a huge lead, especially to Xenon. I mean, it's not a huge lead on paper. It's just a 1k gold difference. But the kills are funneled onto such a scary player in the hands of a scary champion, which is the Akali. Now we'll have to see how Cut is able to try defend from this attempted push from GK. The 1v1 though, we saw how that went. We saw how Xenon is not able to, or rather Risk is not able to deal with Xenon there on this Akali. So Cut must invest resources, but at the same time, GK has been, you know what? Okay, you're gonna focus on top side, gonna focus on Xenon. We'll focus our 4-man onto the opposite side of the map. And Cut has to take account of that possible maneuver from GK.
I guess GK, well, Xenon is going to be a sacrificial lamb in the later parts of the game. That is going to be the arrow connecting onto that Olaf, but Olaf has that Ragnarok. Now you have the strong re-engage coming through for the side of GK. You have a lot of CCs to survive. That is with the flash out coming through from Leona, but look at Xinjiao. He is still A-okay. That is going to be Akali being the first one to get taken down. A shutdown on Xenon, in fact, and right after Akali saying goodbye, GK decided to just let it go. Just kidding. But the dragon, next dragon is going to be up in 22 seconds. Baron still up. Cut Esports, if they want to, they could get Baron, given that GK is going to go with the reset.
Yeah, it was Xenon. Unfortunately, you know, looking at his items, does have that teleport, not as Zonia's Hourglass on his boot enchant. So this is going to be a struggle when he wants to go in. So he exchanges, you know, that split push over that team fight utility, and now Baron is started for Cut.
ultimate has been casted by this Ashe, and here comes GK. Will they be able to go to Vistira? Is gonna be a no, but they could still try to survive the team fight. That is gonna be yes, no, maybe Ernest is the first one to actually get taken down. You have Seraphine in the back line. Will you be able to do anything? That is gonna be a no. Leona saying goodbye as well. It was a 2-0 in favor of GK after getting those 2 kills. They are very much confident to get this Elder Drake.
Yeah, this is going to be very juicy for GK, which they will gladly take. As that's going to be, whoa! Oh no! 69 falls to the hands of Xenon there. That's going to be a shutdown, I believe. And they get rewarded. Will the Elder Mountain Dragon as well. It's going to be very scary with the massive shields kicking in for the fights later on against Cut.
If you can recall, in the previous fight, 6ix9ine was actually the one that took down Xenon. And I guess that's the reason why Xenon was so mad that he just had to kill 6ix9ine in the mid lane. But jumping back to the game, it is now the 18-minute mark. Kill advantage as well as the gold advantage going over to GK. And then I realized all of the dragon buffs is actually into the side of our blue team.
Yeah, GK is able to secure everything. As we take a look at the replay over at the Baron fight, as Sultanas was the one who got the wild growth. They were able to clean up Slade, putting, Risk back to base. And the unfortunate 1v1 as Xenon, again, versus the very squishy AD carry. I'm sure Xenon will have the time of his life. Look at him, too. He swapped the teleport enchant to this Zonia. So he will be more confident going in, even though Timos will be in the nearby area. He wouldn't be too scared too much about the stuns.
Olaf popping with the Ragnarok the moment the arrow did connect. So I guess 1-to-1 trade for the ultimate, and still 4 turret takedowns per team. You have Akali, you have Xenon alone though at the Baron lane side. Could be split pushing. Now you have 4 members near him, and GK will just focus on taking down the last outer turret for the Dragon lane side, and Risk trying to defend this last mid turret with his life. Again, no more arrows available for this Ashe. GK is now going to fall back. They do not want to overstay their welcome because they still have the encore to worry about.
And they don't want to risk it. They just want to try and play safe, get that reset. They have acquired more gold. The 6k gold difference now, and with GK in the lead. We're seeing a death stance getting picked up by Sultano, so his survivability has increased even more. Not only during his ult as well, not only during a wild growth on him as well, but with a death stance and Sterak's picked up, he's going to survive even more in the prolonged fights. So we take a look at more items. Staff of Flowing Water completed. Double QSS, actually, for the side of 69 as well. As Joe is more likely because, again, of the threat of the crystal arrow from far, far, far away here coming from Farak. So better safe than sorry. They want to make sure that they're going to be fine. Because if you get an arrow from far away, Xenon, you bet Xenon is going to be nearby and is going to finish you off.
They will mostly commit the arrow into where Xenon is. And let's see if they're going to start to do the initiative, or at least try to pull the trigger. GK being very quiet near the push. Not sure if Cut Esports will be able to take a peek there. You have the undertow for Olaf. And now you have the Void Seeker connecting onto one. Vision and information given to Cut Esports. But looks like the buff is still going to go over to their side. Baron is still up. No one going to that pit just yet. And Cut Esports, they still have quite a minion wave to manage.
Yeah, they've mid lane slowly creeping up towards that area. It's very difficult because, Cut does have a lot of deep vision in their own jungle to make sure that GK is not able to secure any of these sneaky kills. But I guess this is the opportunity. Their composition is very strong as 5.
Nope. Okay.
Nope.
Okay, that was a good try for Xin Zhao, but Cut Esports, they're being very careful at this point. Now Xenon is looking for the next possible target. Undertow has been popped by Olaf in there. Risk try to see if someone is hiding at the bush, and while GK is trying to push him back, I thought they were gonna commit with the Baron, but you still have a fresh wave of minions pushing into the Dragon lane side of GK. Cut Esports will be very much happy to see another turret falling down. They're gonna go with some of the recalls here and there. And GK, well, Ashe at least, is gonna hold his ground into the mid lane.
They decided not to risk it too much because, just as you mentioned, there are minion waves slowly creeping with, the 3 cannon minions just destroying the second tier tower. And this makes GK a little bit uncomfy, I suppose, and they decided to just clear that out. Again, a swap onto Unspells. There's a teleport now on Xenon. That is the 3rd time of the enchant picked up because, he is going to be initiating that split push. And we've seen the flanking vision. Look at the wards being placed deep into the jungle of Cut. So they're hoping that they can set up an entrance for Xenon to come in straight from the backline.
If ever they're gonna go with the fight, it's gonna be a 4v4. But you know what? You have 4 champions making their way into the Baron lane. Now you have Risk forced to flash out, also using his ultimate just to make sure that he has that extra armor, that extra sustainability for the gang coming in from GK. And while there was a lot of skirmish at the Baron lane side, you actually have Xenon split pushing, focusing on the target. You have the teleport being bought by Risk as well. They're gonna try and enter the Baron's pit. Now you have Risk taking the slice and dice, and they're gonna go with the steal. Also the teleport coming through for the side of GK, but blue team was still able to get the Baron. Now you have the Wild Growth being committed onto Jin Zhao, killing spree going over to Ashe, and that is gonna be another kill for Akali. Olaf and Seraphine saying goodbye. Ours will connect onto 6ix9ine, but he was able to QSS his way out of there.
And that is it. That is what big death timers on Cut Esports aside. We get to see GK just marching down with the Baron buff as well towards the base of Cut.
They are just gonna focus onto the Nexus. 6ix9ine, not sure if he will be able to defend that one, but we have a wave of Baron buff minions, and that is gonna be GK being able to win the series 2-1.
What a series that we've just witnessed for day number 1. It was very back and forth series-wise. It seemed like it could have gone to either Cut or to GK, but they were able to come up on top. It was the tale of the Akali picks this time around in this series.
Looks like the win rate for Akali is pretty good for day number 1. Also, I cannot stress this enough. The enchanted crystal arrows being thrown out or sent out by Ashe, it was the perfect initiate. It's global. So wherever you are, there is a possible threat that an arrow is gonna go or gonna jump right at you. And the fact that you have Akali, you have Xenon that could just jump in the Shuriken Strike, a lot of damage for the side of Cut Esports, and it was just too much for them to bear.
Yeah, it was definitely too much to handle. They're forced to pick up instead of. I didn't get to see if there were twin shadows just to counter at Xenon. They were forced to pick up QSSs instead on their kit because of that threat of the crystal arrow. So it was such a huge pick for the side of GK.
Yep. And yeah, if we know that you guys enjoyed that game 3, that last game, so let's take a look into the highlights.
I really like this arrow there. The first arrow on the first highlight.
Right.
This is one of those instances where the encore didn't exactly, land to where Cut wanted it to be at. But it was the patience of this certain skirmish where, okay, everybody else from GK pretty much burned a lot of the key ults. We saw how Forax was pretty much behind on that retreat line, and it was the go signal for the Olaf to activate Ragnarok and just chase people down. But unfortunately, this wasn't enough. It was the arrow, and then the follow-up coming from Xenon and the rest of the squad coming from GK was such a huge threat to the point that, we mentioned this before, buying that QSS was just such a very, it was the go-to for sure because of that threat.
Yep, they just had to adjust accordingly. On top of that, a lot of vision given for the side of GK just because of the hawk shot that's gonna come through for this Ashe. And yeah, this is a moment that Reveal will be able to get few kills in their pockets. This was the moment that GK definitely shined. They were able to just lock in Cut Esports. They could not move. Akali having the time of her life, and even though 6ix9ine was right there, he had no choice but to just go back into the base with barely enough of his life left. But yeah, what a back and forth series. Surprisingly though, it's gonna be the win going over to GK. Even though Cut Esports was able to push game 3, they were just not able to close out the series.
Yeah, Group C is starting to look like such an intense and close group, and very excited to see how the days are going to look like, especially, Cut. Of course, they want to be top again, considering that their record back in the June Origin Series was they were the champions, and then they're second place the previous month. So for GK, they are definitely slowly climbing up there.
Definitely. But that has been series number 2. Do not fret, we still have a series number 3. But before we jump into the series, we're gonna jump into a very short break. We have been your casters. I'm Yuko alongside Miss Riku, and we will see you later.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Origin series. It is the August finals, and I've got millions of flies in my room. I can't, it's driving me up the wall, but I am back, and I'm joining Riku for the first time. How you doing?
I know, it's very, very exciting to be able to, cast with you for the first time, and as well as, this third series of the night we're having today.
Absolutely. They keep whizzing past the camera as well. It's the worst bit. Anyway, let's look at the matches we got today. Let's have a look at the roster. We are going to be looking at We're Future versus Wavy Esports. So it's a German team versus a French team. So it's Juicy Ghost, Kuru, Emperor Duck, and Nika versus Zats, Druid, WLYC. How am I going to say that one fast? Nez and Titi. Yes, chat, is a player called Titi. I know, I can immediately imagine it already. I'm going to have to say that in play-by-play. Fun times ahead. But Riku, pick a bands. We're straight into it. Let's get going.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see how this pick and ban's going to go. We've seen a lot of, Star Akali picks. We've seen how the Lulu was able to shine. We've seen Ashe suddenly pick up in the current meta with the different changes we've seen in the recent patches with, you know, the Crystal Arrow being easily maneuvered, with a Hawk Shad being more, with the 5 seconds, you'll be able to see your enemies even more. But look at that, Gragas. It's going to be the first ban coming from Wavy, and Corki will follow through.
Yeah, so the Camille being taken out. It's got a standard bans at the moment. Does mean that the Ari might be able to make its way through. We'll see. Well, there's just a lot of jungle focused here in the bans.
Yeah, a lot of these flex picks, Gragas, Camille, be able to flex jungle top, even in the mid sometimes. Lee Sin being, again, one of the scariest picks coming from red side, because you pair it up easily with a Renekton, and that can spell disastrous if they get that early lead. So now Renekton being taken out of the table, Akali is open, but this is something. Blue side first pick priority is the Ziggs. We're seeing a lot of wave clear. We're seeing a lot of heavy damage mid to late game. So I'm excited to see how this will turn out.
Yeah, the Akali has been banned all day long. Pantheon also getting through. This is a very aggressive team from We Are Future immediately. But the Lulu coming through, we already saw how strong those wild growths can be earlier on today. But the Olaf jungle, that makes sense with so many jungle bans coming through. Olaf obviously very strong throughout June and July.
Yeah, the early game skirmishes will shine, especially if you pair it up with a Lulu, maybe even a Seraphine. But since the Ziggs has already been picked, or either it's going to be a Ziggs Lulu bot lane, perhaps, maybe, then Seraphine mid lane could be a possibility. But seeing now that we see a Kai'Sa lockdown, it is going to be an AD carry, a traditional AD carry in the dual lane.
Ooh, the Wukong. That's something we've not seen for a while. Was incredibly strong for a long time, almost predominantly banned out as well throughout July.
Yeah, a lot of the easy setups with the team fights, perhaps with, you know, the Diana, since it was popular maybe 2 months ago. But we might possibly see an Olaf top lane this time around. We'll have to see. I'm very excited to see how the Olaf top lane is going to go, since, you know, I can get a little bit bullied at, you know, at the early phases of the game.
Well, the game's ready to go. Let's get it on your screens, ladies and gentlemen. We're going into game. It is going to be Group A, which is the European side of things. We're Future up against Wavy Esports. How is this one going to play out? Where do you see it? Where do you feel the team comps absolutely strengths are?
Yeah, for Wavy, I'm seeing this top lane Wukong here. I believe the sustain of the Wukong top lane, solo lane, has been nerfed a little bit by, I believe, 10%, but don't think it would hurt him too much. But we're seeing a little bit of an interesting take here, as we're going to be seeing the standard Olaf jungle. In the meantime, though, it is Ghost here on this Pantheon, so level 5 is going to be the strength of We're the Future here, with, again, semi-global ults coming in, the True Shot Barrage as well into the equation, and the burst, the possible resets coming in from the Darius.
I feel this is a potential chalk and cheese mid lane. It's like it can go great for Ziggs, or it can go horribly, horribly wrong. Speaking of lane matches, the Wukong struggling already, having to get those honey fruits down him. Obviously, we know that there's going to be very strong Darius. Anyone that watched LEC at the weekend will be well aware of how strong Darius can be, taking Fnatic through to the World Finals. So congratulations to them. But here on Wild Rift, it's still going to be a strong start for the Darius.
Yeah, it's a strong level 1, level 2 as well. With the barrier getting a little bit more defensive, so that means no ignite kill possibly for top side. So we'll see how this Darius is going to keep pushing. Level 3 will be very strong because you have all of your, of course, kit with the apprehend, just reeling in Zaps over here on that Wukong. But we might see a 2v2 actually, a top side perhaps, or a 1v1 in this Rift Herald, Rift Scuttler take rather.
Oh, yeah, but immediately gets dragged in, and that is going to be a very low Olaf. Yes, he can put damage down when low, but not when he's double teamed like that. I gotta be honest, not too sure what he was thinking walking straight into a Darius like that.
Yeah, it's very, very risky, especially you don't have Ragnarok just yet. Level 5 less Olaf is going to be very vulnerable against a strong level 3 power spiky champion such as the Darius, and as well as that Pantheon with an easy stun.
I mean, he just strolled in there. Yes, sure, they got the double flash out for one flash, but honestly, not worth in my opinion. And immediately we're seeing the Pantheon continue, and Ghost putting damage down on the Ziggs in mid and forcing him back, and that's not a great position he wants to be. Oh no, they were setting up for the gank and it just didn't happen.
Oh, yeah, they were trying to get the death brush in, trying to get the bait. The bait was set, which was the Ziggs. But, you know, Ghost wasn't there to take the whole bite in. And now it's going to be the resets. The level 5s are slowly going to come in as we check out the bot lane as well. Still pretty much stable. That's a very strong, lots of pokes coming in, lots of lots of the heals rather coming from the Nami. So it's going to be a little bit difficult for relatively short-range champions such as, you know, Ness and as well as the Lulu here compared to their matchup.
Lulu only just hit 4. Obviously going back, trying to set up that gank and failing. Lost them quite a bit of experience in lane. So very interested to see how that's going to work out with obviously Nico and Emperor just returning after buying, getting all that free experience. So they may well have a level advantage as we reach it. There's the level 5s coming in now. So ults obviously all coming online for just about everyone. That dragon is going to be available shortly as well. Immediate aggression coming straight out. Why not? They've been back to buy and putting that Ezreal under a little bit of punishment.
Yeah, knowing that the bubble has missed, that means that's the green light for the dual lane of Wavy to just keep going. And with that, you know, the shields coming in as well as the disengage of Wild Rift is available. So that makes things a little bit braver for the Wavy duo lane. But they have to be careful, though, because there is a semi-global ult lingering around, which is, you know, the Starfall coming from this Pantheon. So that means, you know, Wavy has to take into account, must not overextend too much, or else they might get punished.
That's the frustrating Emperor Duck just being that little annoyance. Everybody back in, actually. A couple back into buy here. Now, Dragon has just spawned up as well. So the Drake available. Obviously, the Rift Herald as well, which could be a possibility judging by where the current team is going. So certainly future team looking to go up that way.
Yeah, they're starting to compress in the stun.
Oh, catching him out. That's not going to be good. And that's the dunk coming through top laner. Sorry, the Lulu already picked off there. Will get caught down. There's going to be the Wukong going off. Going to get on towards the Nami. Meanwhile, Ghost is going to get another there. So the Pantheon working out. He might be able to get a second if he can get the flash. Yes, he can. There's the spear. The Ziggs goes down. And that is decimation with Future with a real lead.
Yeah, they got a big bonus with the Rift Herald on the board for them as well. So this is huge. Ghost is, you know, was able to get early game kills as well. So he's going to be a huge problem against Wavy for sure. As we can see what the call is going to be for Wavy. They've decided, okay, we lost the Rift Herald. We lost the fight. Let's just pursue this dragon.
Going to go straight for it. The Ezreal is there immediately to respond. The Kali is coming close, but I think they're going to be out of position. As you say, Rift Herald being used for the top lane, so just going to trade that tower down, and that will be the dragon for Wavy, but the top tower is almost certainly sacrificed.
Yeah, First Blood Tower is going to go over to Where the Future. And now it is going to be a second charge, actually, because there are no wave clear. That's just a measly Wukong having to fight against 3 members.
I'm not sure I like this. They're trading a tier 1 for a tier 2 because they're trying to take the bottom turret at the moment themselves, but the Rift Herald's still very much going to slam this one down. They're going to get the kill as well. So in the end, a kill and the tower. Tier 2 tower, though. That's a big start at just 6 minutes in.
Yeah, Zach's tried his best against the 1v3 scenario, actually 1v4. Taking into account, that's the 3rd charge. That is value right there on that Rift Herald. And now FT is able to get a lot of value. Look at the pickups. 2 Proto Belts on the board. So that's what? Proto Belt to a flash? No, Proto Belt to a stun rather for Ghost, and as well as Proto Belt to an apprehend. And that's going to be really scary against, you know, Wavy.
So this was the initial engage at the Rift Herald way back when.
Yeah, this was such a strong engage coming from the side of FTE. They were such a, again, very confident. Again, they got the lead from Ghost and the spear to the face. Unfortunately, Wavy had nowhere to run. And it's fight again.
He goes straight back into it. That's going to be the Ragnarok popped off. It isn't going to be enough on the back line. He's kind of been left in the lurch there. His team were not with him. The Ziggs Mega Inferno Bomb does come down, but not able to connect. Now the man drop comes in. Nez is kind of separated from his team. He's going to get surrounded here, but there's a lot of low hit point champions in there at the moment. Ghost's going to get away with nothing, or is he? Because they can turn it on. The Ziggs is coming chasing through. Has he got enough? There's the Wukong to come deliver. Should be able to separate. The flash comes through. He's going to pop his ulti. Will be able to catch it out there. And this is cleanup crew for Wavy. Now, the Akali in here, that could be a problem, but it is a 3v1. I've got to assume he's going to back out. No, goes for it. And now the Ziggs, no mana left for the Ziggs. He could get himself a second here, but it's going to be the help in the end coming out from TT working wonders.
I thought that was going to be another kill down for Kuro, but it was just too much. It was a 1v3 situation. Ragnarok
coming through. It's not going to work out in the end. That's just a little too deep.
Yeah, that is definitely too much, and more fights actually as they're able to pick up another kill. That's double. That's not what you want, especially against a Darius. We know how they can spin out of control and get that resets, get that slams in, and therefore low health targets. You have to watch for your HP bars to not open up for the potential resets for a Darius in play.
Whew, right, let's take a breather. Let's just calm down. Let's see what's going on. It's a pretty long fight, this one.
Yeah, coming from a replay and then another fight, FTE is just out for blood here. I mean, the confidence came from they were able to get a pick off. They were able to get Druid off right away. So it was a 4v5 situation. Actually, a 3v3 situation as Akali was just, coming from base. But they were in too deep. They got too much tower hits off of that fight. And basically, just as you mentioned, D-Man, it was cleanup crew with just a lot of range, just a lot of pokes, and just a lot of chase potential as well. With Zats just waiting from the sideline to get that Cyclone in, Kuro was able to get an extra kill over here at least before he's able to fall.
Yeah, it just felt like they'd given Zats just too much time around the tower. Not Zat, sorry, Nez, sorry, the carry. I'm used to them being in the lineup position. It's thrown me completely. But yeah, Nez given too much time there. And was able to obviously use that tower to his advantage. They weren't able to get on him and got the damage down. Speaking of towers, a lot of damage being done on this middle turret. Drake now spawning the Inferno in just 1 second. This is almost certainly going to trigger another fight.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see who will land the first blows, able to catch them. But the thing is, for FTE, they have a lot of tools to start the fight. You've got Apprehend, you've got the stun coming from Ghost, and the bubble as well. But if they prolong, another fight.
No, they do prolong. The wild growth has already been used as well, so not ideal. And Nez was taking a heck of a lot of damage from Emperor Duck on the side there. I feel they can't really get too involved in this one. You can see just how aggressive and confident Emperor Duck is being on that at Ezreal.
Yeah, he's just solo manning this behind of the dragon pick as he circles around.
Are they going to try and engage for it? Yes, he is. He's going to go around the side there because the Akali going diving does get Nez down. Can he manage to finish off WLYC? No, survives, but it doesn't matter. Ghost is there to support, and Zats now is in all sorts of trouble. He's going to go down. That is a team ace. Absolutely dominated. I got to be honest, it's a fight that Wavy should never have taken.
Yeah, they were a little bit scattered there, and FTE had the better positioning. They were able to isolate targets one by one. They were able to clean up, and it was such a clean ace with only Kuro being the casualty. Not only do they get the Infernal Drake, actually it was Wavy who's able to secure the Infernal Drake, so FTE will gladly take the kills, the gold, and maybe an extra kill.
Yeah, maybe. He just gets away with it there. Nez taken very low. Wild growth already used in sort of panic mode by TT there just to keep him alive. Meanwhile, down the bottom, they've just stayed a little too long to push these towers. I think he got that tier 2 turret down, though, so I would say worth.
Yeah, it was pretty worth an exchange of a life. They were able to get more space for them to get more of that Baron space maybe later on. Let's take a look at the replay again. I did mention that it's a little bit, air quote, better in terms of positioning for the side of FTE. And it's due to the fact that the sandwich was mainly possible. Kuro was able to get a lot of work done in the back line. It's basically, cleanup squad coming in and the resets. Killing spree already for the Darius.
Yeah, the biggest part for me was the fact that Kuro on Akali did manage to get on the back line. Got the AD carry down, got the mid laner down, did the work that he was there to do, and that's really the job. Once he's doing his job and taking those carries out, the rest of it is indeed, as you say, clean up crew. So, FTE in the lead at the moment, a pretty commanding lead, 9,000 gold as they start to set up a bit of Baron bait.
It's huge. They've got, their jungler and their top laner all set and ready to just keep engaging nonstop. And double Sterax, double Guardian Zinc, just one Guardian Angel. That means, more survivability for them to just get onto the back line and survive as much as they can. Great for the rest of the squad, but Baron started.
Yeah, interested to use Grand Skyfall to jump into Baron Pit there. Not too convinced on that one, I gotta be honest, but Guru has been caught off. That's the Akali down, and now they're in all sorts of trouble. What an absolute mess this could be here. They're trying to regroup, trying to get around there, but now the Wukong's gonna try and dive in there. Has got the wild group, but the rest of his team's just abandoned him. What are you doing? They've just left him. They had the advantage. They were so scared of the Darius.
And that's the thing, they had vision over there, so it felt like they were disjointed whether they wanted to pursue the fight or not. So yeah, just as you mentioned, Zats unfortunately was isolated, and basically the rest, look at the apprehend.
Finally, they're pulling him into all this tower, but it's a little too late. Look at that, he's going to walk away. He's got himself the Guardian Angel as well, and Ezreal, Emperor Duck, is just commanding himself at the moment. He may even stick around a little too long here, I think, because here comes Zats. He's not going to be able to get away with that one. That's going to be the Druid just throwing the axe in his face.
Yeah, that snipe undertow. There's no vision there, but, they expected where the Arcane Shift was going to land, and Emperor, unfortunately, had to fall there. He did get a little bit of auto attacks on the tower, but, FT is still in a huge lead. It's practically, 9-10k gold lead already. There's still, the biggest Titans there, which is the Darius and the Pantheon.
Zats out of position, trying to get a bit of ward coverage down there, caught in the bubble. That's just about the worst he wants to hope for. He's already used the image as well. There's the ulti coming through to try and get away with this one. They're going to try and turn it back around, but here's the Guardian Angel kicking in now. Zats will go down. The Darius dunk working wonders. Gets himself a second as well. Can't quite land the hook onto the Ziggs, but it doesn't matter. WLC just about surviving there with the bomb, but now Druid, can he land the undertow? Or is he going to get caught up? He actually went through the honey fruit to try and get the heal off. He wanted to turn it around onto TT. Not going to happen, but here comes the Akali. Cleanup duty, not going to happen. Druid is finally strong enough to deal with him.
That was such a staggered fight. Everybody came 1v1ing each other. Yeah. And, it was Emperor who wasn't present in the fight. He was busy taking the objectives down, getting a true shot barrage, at least to get vision down and see where the rest of Wavy is at the map, and its mission accomplished. It is still, though, a lot of bounty given up by the side of FTE, and Wavy pretty much glad to have those.
So, a bit of a mess, this game, no doubt about it. 15 kills to 21. Not exactly the cleanest of team fight comps we've seen. It has kind of been elongated at the moment. Ocean Drake, of course, was just picked up by With Future. The Baron, of course, is up and active, which may well be the next focus. You can see everybody's trying to shove those lanes out, try and get themselves as much as they can to take the pressure off, certainly for Wavy's point of view. I was about to say take the pressure off the inhibitor turrets, but I got to be honest, Zats, you're dead here, Zats. Or is he?
Oh.
Yeah, he definitely is. Oh, meanwhile, back around the Baron Pit. Speaking of that, Druid's going off for the moment. Can he get the slam down? He gets onto Ghost. Now he comes the support that he needed. The Ziggs, meanwhile, is in all sorts of trouble. Emperor Duck is popping off at the back there. He gets a little peek. Did you see that? Cheeky little shot onto Baron to make sure he puts a bit of damage down as well. The Guardian Angel not going to be enough. That's going to be Kuru coming up, clean-up duty. That is another team ace.
What a fight from FTE. First, it started with the 1v1 at the bottom lane, where Kuro was able to eliminate, Zats here on this Wukong, and now they're just heading straight for the base. No need for the Baron. They want to open up this Wavy base right at this moment.
Only 6 seconds on the Wukong. That's all that's available. They may well just be able to go and finish this one. Now, will they want to go for it? They've got 3 cannon minions. They're instead going to take the collateral and try and take as many towers as they can. They've still got a 3-second timer. They could finish it right now, and they absolutely will. Kuru's going to come in. Emperor Duck will finish it off. There's the spawns coming through, but it's too little too late. With Future, will take game 1.
What a fight that we saw from FTE. We're the Future. They are killing it from the Pantheon early game kills, and as well as the Darius getting the reset. No one was able to deal with them from Wavy.
With Future technically were the ones that got further in this tournament, if you can say that, because they're facing each other right now. But they did reach the quarterfinal in the winner brackets. What I mean, they went down to Creme Batis, who we know are certainly a strong team. But with Future, Yes, they won it, but that was far from clean. Let's have a look at some of the highlights from that game because it was a messy one.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting and messy one. There were a lot of these skirmishes where they just focused on a single target. It worked out because, again, that is their composition. Apprehend to a stun of the Pantheon, vice versa. But there's a lot of 1v1s going around. A little bit of like people coming in one by one. But it just doesn't change the fact how Ghost is able to get early game kills, and as well as the Darius, which ballooned up and they basically spun out of control.
And I gotta be honest, with team comps set as they are, or with obviously an Akali that's going to revel on jumping on the Ziggs, jumping on the carry, the way the Calamity, the chaotic fights paid off, that was just perfect for Weird Future. That's exactly what they wanted. They played into it. Effectively, Wavy played into their hands.
Yeah, exactly. The more chaotic it is, the more, entrances or more opportunities Kuro can just enter the fight as an Akali and be that backline threat. And it's so unfortunate, too, because once Ness and Wavy basically has to butt heads over against Kuro, rather, then, they don't have space to kite. They don't have space to throw the bombs from far away.
Yeah, I just feel that certainly from WLYC, probably the most awkward name I've seen to try and say in commentary. From his point of view, yes, sure, Ziggs is a strong champion choice. Not sure about first picking the mid laner though.
Yeah, I think maybe Ziggs very incredibly strong. You can take towers down super fast despite, the nerfs on the Ziggs from the previous patches. But I think, the Lulu disengage may not be enough. Maybe a Braum could possibly be a solution, perhaps on the next game if they still wanted something to create space for, the kiting from far away with, this Kai'Sa, this Ziggs pick. But yeah, the Olaf was able to get a few kills here and there, but we didn't get to see it snowball like what we usually expect with an Olaf paired with a Lulu.
Yeah, absolutely. And the match highlights just keep going on and on and on and on and on because there was a lot of engages throughout that game. It ended up being a Weird Future taking the first matchup. Let's get game 2 set up and ready to go. So here are the team lineups, of course. Weird Future, Jersey Ghost, Kuru, Emperor Duck, and Nico. For Wavy, it is Zats, Druid, WLYC, Nez, and TT in there. So Juicy is the name that I was trying to figure out who was on the Darius. Now I know. Carrying those, well, I think it was Chinese characters he had in his name, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell whether it was Chinese or Korean, but I'm pretty sure it's Chinese.
You're right. And the Darius, I feel like we could see possibly the Darius pick again in the Pantheon. Maybe even a Twisted Fate. A Twisted Fate has been one of the common matchups to the Ziggs, I suppose, when we look back last month. So maybe we get to see that in the next game number 2.
Well, let's get pick and bans on your screen as they are ready to go already. These teams chomping at the bit here in Group A. So FTE now obviously over on the blue side. That is Weird Future, the current winners, of course. It is Chinese characters confirmed there by the admin. Thank you very much to confirm that. So Zuri, I need to remember that one. Corky Band coming through. A Ziggs band from Wavy? I'm not sure on that.
Yeah, they're respecting the first pick blue side Ziggs most likely, and maybe they don't have an answer and not confident just yet. But Renekton being the second ban over here, maybe a Lee Sin will follow suit. But usually if you ban out the Renekton or the Lee Sin, it's either or, as they're gonna let that through. Xin Zhao, again, very popular in the Origin series. Sometimes it'd be flex at top side, sometimes most likely in the jungle, but we'll see what FT is gonna pick up first.
Yeah, so the Camille, other than the Ziggs being the pick, they have left Akali open once again. And Weird Future are saying, thank you very much, we'll take it again. This time, though, it looks like Wavy are going with that more tanky approach, getting that Galio in there, trying to mitigate what the Akali can do.
Yeah, they're trying to get soft counters against assassins because you get the taunt in. I'm not going to be surprised if they lock in a Braum as well. So easy stuns, easy taunts to very aggressive compositions such as this. So now Lulu now being picked up as well alongside with the Olaf. So disengage, and they get to pick Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo, which Wild Growth is going to be, selected, either the Akali or the Olaf.
I feel like from Wavy's point of view, they're going to say, yeah, I was about to say they're going to go for the Vayne just to get everything in there, tank it as much as you can, and try and set the Vayne up. For We're Future, you can see what they want to do. They want to carry on where they just have to. They want that chaos. They want to revel in it, and there's the Ezreal and Jarvan.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the support is going to be. And now the question has been answered. It is going to be a Nami. So this combo looks really good because you have the heals, the movement speed, the big bubble setup into a condemned. I feel like, this dual lane is definitely much stronger compared to the previous one in game number 1.
Well, let's get the game underway, ladies and gentlemen. Game 2, ready to go. We're very interested to see how this one is going to play out. It is going to be We're Future, the German team, as the blue side versus Wavy, the French team, on the red side.
Now let's see if there's going to be the usual. Get the mid lane priority, but looking at the movement of the map, it seems to me that they're looking to just plant deep vision and see where the rest are going to be. And look at that. It's going to be a bit of a standard start. No one lingering in the mid lane just to get, early mid clear, early experience, I suppose, towards the dual lane or towards the top side.
Yeah, Kuru, obviously, we saw how strong he was, and yes, he could bully out at Ziggs, but this time against the Galio, he will find himself a bit of a tougher opposition, and with Druid on the Pantheon very close by, Kuru just giving the vision, knowing the jungle path so that the Olaf can set himself up, whether Ghost wants to maybe try and go for some counter invade.
It's going to be very tough for sure, because this is such a strong and aggressive jungle and mid duo, both semi-global ults, and a lot of stun lock and layering of CC involved, so Kuro definitely must be careful in that lane.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, top lane is obviously the good old classic, I guess you could say, the Demacia classic of Jarvan the Fall. Oh, hello, what's going on in the mid lane? That's going to be Olaf coming through. We were talking about counter jungle chances. Ghost comes through, helps out. It was Druid and WLYC that was trying to set things up. But the Galio, not the quickest, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a skirmish king here on the Olaf, so they were pretty confident, just as you mentioned, on the counter ganks over in the mid lane. They were able to win that, bagging that first blood. We'll see what Wavy decides to do this time around, because, again, looking at top side, it is going to be, you mentioned, the classic Demacian matchup, but it's a Garen. It is a big neutralizer, I suppose. You get that silence in. It's perfect for assassins because Kuro will go in, you'll get silence to the face, means you have no escape.
It's great to see, I think, a Jarvan being used as a top lane, because for a long time, Jarvan was basically, it began his life when it first came out many years ago as the top laner, and then sort of got, yeah, you're the jungler now, and that was it, because other top laners came through, and of course, it's great to see how it's going to work out. He's got Ignite, so he's just committed to it. Speaking of committed to it, Wavy just getting a little aggressive in the mid lane, and exactly what I was thinking. This one's that he's just bored. He's just out of the turret.
Yeah, I mean, he had that HP advantage as well. A dive could happen.
Oh, dive bomb coming through, and it's going to be the Jarvan the Fourth. Yeah, use your ulti to get back out of it, son. Otherwise, those tower hits are going to come through. So, Jury just getting a little aggressive with Ghost.
It's really hard because, Zat is carrying a barrier and as well as a flash. So now that is out. They could take 2 on the gank or in the tower dive. But take note, Druid is nearby. So the counter gank is going to be available for them. But yeah, going back to just as you mentioned earlier on the Jarvan, a little bit of throwback, even carrying the electrocute as well. So more damage on the board. We'll have to see how that pans out in the later stages now that everybody is level 5.
Yeah, Nez just being a little overconfident. I feel obviously the Vayne takes a little while to get going here. Dodges the True Shot barrage nicely. But Emperor Duck, we saw how aggressive and confident he can be on that Ezreal. I feel that maybe they've let him go on a comfort champion here.
Yeah, he has been scary in game number 1. I'm sure the setups later on, once he is able to get that Muramana fully stacked, that 2-item power spike.
I mean, that was an obvious bait, but Kuru may actually get taken down. He gets into the shroud and will be able to dash away. The aggression comes through. Oh, and he gets sniped out nicely there by WRYC. My God, that's going to feel good after getting dominated by that Akali in the last game.
Yeah, and then they get another bonus kill as well, as unfortunately, Jarvan was trying to walk to the mid lane, but took the dangerous way there. Now Wavy is able to get another extra kill on the board.
They're not going to let them.
They're
not going to let them have this. They're coming. They're coming straight down, so they're going to pick up the Rift Herald, and they can quite easily leave the two there. But look at this down at the Dragon. Oh no, he's already picked it up, so they were too late.
Yes, and that was so close. That was too close, actually.
So close.
Whew, okay, Infernal Drake. That's a big boost for FTE here, and that's going to help them, increase that damage output. They are already pretty much very painful. You've got Akali over there. You've got Ghost as well on this Olaf. Again, we're waiting for Emperor to get that 2-item power spike.
There comes the man drop straight in there, and here comes the support as well. The Galio jumping on top, should be able to get the slam down, and he will do.
Bubble.
That takes down the Lulu. Now the double bubble, but is it enough to try and keep them at bay? No, Kuru's going to be the focus target. There's the jump, there's the stun, and that is a dead Akali.
I smell a game 3. This is incredibly close so far compared to game number 1. And Wavy has been adjusting to the movement that FTE has been doing so far. And it's going to be Emperor, going to try to linger around maybe a little bit too dangerous, because that's going to be an easy stun. Get the stun in from the Pantheon and then followed by a bubble. But they're still able to, rescue this tower at least.
So Nez just going to back away. Everybody go back. Everybody spend your well-earned cash. Still very tight. I mean, while you say it may be a game 3, it is still within 1,000 gold between the two teams. Very aggressive game in game 1. I would say more muted, but we are only 6 minutes in so far.
Yeah, it's a little bit air quote mellow compared to game number 1. Like after a replay is ending, there's a fight, maybe potentially like this, but the junglers aren't nearby. But as we can see, Ghost is actually trying to steal the blue buff, but is successful actually.
Yeah, did steal it away, and now he realizes his team's going to be able to take down that tower, so Emperor Duck's going to come in support. Nez is going to be the focus target. The Undertow does go down, and there is the dunk, and that is a dead Nez. And now, with the Rift Herald being used in the top turret as well, but it's going to get countered in there. Kuru comes in. That's going to lock one down. Zatz is going to be able to get away, but is it going to be enough? No! He went for the Demacia and got caught out by Kuru.
Oh no, yeah, that damage unfortunately will not be enough with the Demacian Justice coming in. And for Kuro, we'll be happy about that. Look at that, already, 2 kills on the board for him. Looking to get his second item, which is the Rabadon's most likely. So his burst is going to be even more bursty later on. We'll see if they get this tower down as they open up the map even more. Wavy moving close towards topside.
All right, let's have a look. So this was, I mean, from their point of view, they were like, oh, this is easy. And then it just went horribly wrong. I guess they did. They had no coverage that I can see. Yeah, there's 0 wards. And if you look at the map, there's 0 ward coverage there. Meanwhile, we come back in, and Kuro is down, but did just buy a death cap on the back in base.
I think Zatz was able to get revenge. There's only 1 kill on the board for him. Who's able to take down Kuro over there on the Akali. That means they could possibly take down topside tower. But in exchange of the mid lane,
well, it's going to be a 1-for-1, I think, in the end there. There's the True Shot barrage coming through, but the mid-turret tier 1 did go down as well. So while this all keeps happening, yes, Wavy are getting involved and enjoying the fights, Emperor Duck keeps taking down turrets.
Yeah, he has been doing this since, game number 1, while the rest of the 4-man...
Okay, turning that around. That's a little aggressive. Yeah, I can say he's going to have to get away from this one, but he maybe he's got the safety net to come in here. Nico is there, but I don't think he's going to be able to get away from this one. Overconfidence, maybe kicking it for Duck.
Yeah, he was, very just wanting to get the True Shot barrages down, or maybe the Mystic shots, but there were a couple of members from Wavy over there nearby to punish that aggressive potential play, I suppose. But yeah, let's see if QSS will be picked up later on by Emperor, because, there's just a lot of stuns on the board that will basically punish any sort of aggressive arcane shifts in.
Well, 2-on turret, it seems. True shot barrage way too early. Ghost just sitting there waiting to try and come in and go for that smite fight. It's going to get locked up. The dragon taken low, doesn't get the smite down. Instead, it will go across to Wavy. Now they're turning on to Kuru. Kuru is dead. That is him picked off, and that will be a simple disengage now unless that bubble lands.
And all while that was happening, we see that, you know, Jarvan 4 has been trying to do split push duties at top side. And I feel like this has been the way of FTE. They always 4-man somewhere on the map, and then one, either Kuro or their top laner, will decide as the Undertow will not connect to Nest. He's going to be fine.
I love the fact that Jarvan the 4th, right, the Juru, is basically like, I'm not going to get focused in a fight. They're going for Duck. They're going for Kuru. I'm just going to go full damage. I'm just going to get straight in there. Ghost was going to get picked off. The rest of the team comes in. There's Jury. There he goes. There's the jump. That's what he wants. So remember all of that damage he has bought. But look at Druid on the back line. So low. Nobody's able to finish him off. Duck finally arrives. One decent true shot barrage could have took them all out there, but he doesn't have it available.
Kuro, it might be a little bit too late to the party for cleanup, but it is just Wavy being very careful, knowing the fact that anything can happen. True Shot Barrage can finish low health targets on their side. Or maybe Kuro can set up a flank later on. So this is a good call coming from Wavy. The game is still incredibly close. Just a little bit of gold. Oh, wait,
they're baiting. Here comes Kuro as well. Duck was on the full bait there, and that has completely caught out WMVC on the Galio. Complete bait.
Just the bait successful. Meanwhile, mid lane, this could be another fight.
Now, Kuro and Duck are coming. Are they going to be a little bit late? Jury taking very low, but he's going to be able to survive that one. Not going to quite be enough. And now here comes the carries. Nico having to get away from this one. It's a little bit messy, there's no doubt about it. They do manage to catch off the AD carry, and now they can see cleanup duty coming through. Druid goes in, but he's committed too deep. Duck will be able to finish this one off, no doubt about it. Ghost is going to get the Undertow down, and that will finish off the jungler as well. So a 3-for-1 in the end.
A 3-man down means that FDE can possibly focus on getting the Baron. There is a lot of relatively long death timers on the board, as the rest of FDE already commencing this juicy target. You know,
Ghost! Caught out! WLYC, that's about the best start it can go when your jungler goes down so easily. That is your smite gone. Juru goes in, commits, tries to use that ultimate, but it's not going to be enough. WLYC will disengage. Job done.
That is, that is quite unfortunate. It was just a big chunk of damage coming from WLYC over there. I mean, he is pretty painful, having that Rabadon, having a lot of magic items on the board. Look at Kuro, so close.
Oh, Zats is going to get sniped down. Surely no. Here comes the man drop coming through. Is it going to be enough to grant Skyfall from Druid? Is close. Zats still going in with that Garen. That's just how tanky Garen can be. Just walks away, heals himself back up there. If only they had something to finish off. Emperor Duck is back here. Ghost is back. Tower safe.
And there's so many low health targets over there. I feel like if Ghost was in that equation, could have ended in a different story. But Wavy, no, they're fighting back, as we get to see, though, a 4K gold lead on FTE side with Infernal Drake still on the board. 30 seconds for the next dragon to spawn. We might see another fight. We've been seeing a lot of fights in this game.
Well, here's the replay. So the wave catching both of them there as well.
Yeah, it is, a pretty scattered fight. It all started with, of course, the Olaf with the Wild Growth and the Ragnarok. So this just gives so much survivability, just basically hammering down anyone who is in front of you. And this gave them the confidence. Okay, 3 members down, no jungler, big death timers. Boom! Dead from the Baron assist, and as well as WLYC's damage as the Galio. Now this could be a next fight on the Dragon as the Air Drake has spawned.
Yeah, that is up. We'll see whether they're going to commit for it. Just saw them getting the ward coverage down in the picture-in-picture. They're going to focus on Juru, actually. We're talking about the fact he doesn't have any tanky items in there. Very low. Meanwhile, in the pit, Druid's going to come through. Doesn't manage to get it down. The smite came through in the end there. Look at Zat. He's on nothing. Diddy's on nothing. Nez is on nothing. This is going to be cleanup duty for future here. True Shot Barrage says, thank you very much. WLYC's getting away in the back there. Zat's trying to get away. Oh, my God. How have so many survived? It is a 3-for-2 in the end. The dragon actually went over to Wavy, though.
Yeah, that's a really good steal coming from Druid, but at the cost of what? 3 lives on the side of Wavy. So this opens up FTE pushing both lanes in the mid lane and as well as bottom, and an extra kill for Emperor.
Bit of a bonus, taking down the Nami there, taking down the turret as well. Going to put a bit of pressure on the inhibitor turrets, but they'll have to back away as the respawns come through. A second tier 2 turret going down as well. Kuru catching one out there. Druid, you can't tank that much. Zats comes in to try and block it, but it might cost him his life. True Shot Barrage is not available just yet, though, so they're back away.
Yeah, I thought the red buff would have been enough for that burn tick on towards Zats, but he's a Garen. He's gonna be fine, but you know, unfortunately, TT is not fine.
No, absolutely not. Nico, oh no, interrupted back in by a wolf, I think.
It happens. And now Wavy's trying to scout the area to see whether or not FD is going to pursue this Baron. But look at top side, though.
Oh, Emperor Duck, that's the carry getting caught out. That's a big loss for We're Future to lose the AD carry Emperor Duck. They have got the rest of the team here. Let's see if they can try and turn it around. Not worth fighting for that Scuttle Crowd, but they did try and catch it. The wave doesn't catch anyone, though, from Wavy. And they're going to turn a burn on towards this Baron with the AD carry of Emperor Duck down. That is a big loss. They're going to turn. They're going to go for Ghost. That's one they want. Zuri caught out. He gets flag and drag. He actually caught all 5 members, but will pop. He has no tank ability. Simply tried to lock the rest of the team up, and this is now just cleanup duty maybe for them. They have to just delay this Baron, though. They're not strong enough to take it. Oh, Kuru going in, going to go through there, goes Gold. Has he got enough to try and dive on them? He's just biting enough time for Ghost to come through, but they can't get the damage down.
Teleport?
Kuru easily focused. Now, Emperor Duck is back.
He's back
on his feet. It's been such a long fight. He had a 30-second death timer. 4 members getting caught by the True Shot Barrage, all taken so low. It's delayed Baron. It's done the job, and he's still going in. Now they're going to pile onto him. He tries to get the damage down. He may well just do that. Gets one. He trades off with Kuru. Kuru getting picked off. Sorry, Ghost going down. Now he wants to get more damage down. My God, how is this kill still going?
What just happened? Yeah, FDE basically bought so much time to the point that Emperor but Teleport Enchant joined the fight, is able to get, what, 1 kill off of that really long skirmish. And Wavy, you know, they are unable to get the Baron.
I mean, I'm going to let you take this one. I've gone and talked long enough.
Yeah, it's all started again. It's all about buying time. That was the mission of this game. And Kuro diving in, very confident. He had Zhonya's, he had Barrier. That is the reason why. The threat of the Garen Silence was pretty much still there, but at least the Shroud was there to protect him. But someone wasn't protected, though. It was the Silence. Ghost was able to, you know, fall down from that fight. But Emperor, at the end of the day, 624, the biggest member of FTE. He has a lot of items already. He's reeled his blade, and another fight.
Yeah, they're going straight in. They're going to try and catch on. And True Shot Barrage not really catching too many here. Duck is still not available. Now he's about to join the fight, so the damage will come down. He's got 16,000 gold spent on items, and he's the man that can turn this fight around in their favor. Will be able to get the one down. WLC goes gold, but won't get away with that one. Now TT, the next focus target, should be able to get the shift in there. But look at Druid start around the side. The stun comes in. The bubble not quite catching. That could have definitely been the pickup kill in the meanwhile. But meanwhile, he does get himself the Nami down. Everybody else will disengage. 3-4-2.
That's crazy. Emperor was able to, you know, tag team with Nico on this Lulu. He has that red buff, so the slow is going to kick in. Cyrilla's Blade also applies slow, but now this is a straight path for Wavy to get this Elder Drake for their team.
Incredible stuff, really. So the Grand Skyfall used to try and get in there and get that Elder Dragon down as quickly as possible. They instantly turn a burn onto Nico. Nico, massive damage coming through. Zat should be able to finish that one off. It will finally be Nez. We haven't seen a great deal of Nez so far in that vein. He's been locked down in every team fight. But now it looks like it's going to be We're Future that try and take away this Elder Dragon. And I've got to be honest, Zats, this is really risky. He's going to go for it. Druid taken low. That's going to jump away from that one at the moment. Everybody's low in the pit. You can see Zuri's going to have to back away from this one. It will still be the Dragon. It's still out there. But now Kuru is on cleanup duty. He comes through. He gets himself a triple. They get the Dragon as well. We're Future looking dominant.
more kills, more objectives off the map for We're Future. And now they're heading straight heading straight to the base as Wavy has a lot of death timers. It's only TT they're defending as a Nami.
Yeah, this gotta be it. This is surely over. 2-0, I feel, is coming this way. The German team, We're Future, looking to lock this one out, and they're gonna do just that. So Wavy, you know, they took it as chaotic as they could. 23-20 in terms of kills. Make that 24 as he dies on the fountain. But the Nexus will fall, and We're Future will progress in this tournament in the lower bracket.
What a series we just witnessed. And FTU just, you know, thrived in the chaos. Game number 1, game number 2. And I gotta say, you know, I feel like, you know, Emperor gotta be one of my, you know, favorite players in this team.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. Let's have a look at some highlights. I guess I'm assuming we've got some highlights from that game to go through. Actually, we got the whole day's highlights because actually we had some fantastic games. This being the first game of the day. Honestly, super massive blaze, surprising Sangal Esport and catching them off guard in what was an epic 2-0 fight.
Yeah, a very close game when it comes to the early game, but they're able to find their footing at the end. We're seeing a lot of, you know, the Xin Zhao coming up, as well as the Lulu being incredibly popular, and the Pantheon as well. It was the start of almost 100% pick Pantheon for the day, and it was, again, such a match to witness because it was a lot of action when it comes to the early game.
Yeah, definitely. It was very much heavily focused. Then we moved on to the game you obviously covered with Yuki earlier on. GK putting up a massive surprise against Cut early on.
Yeah, imagine, you know, Cut, the champions of June of the Origin Series, then 2nd July, and now this upset coming from GK. They played this series so well and so patiently without having to, you know, lose that game number 2, get that mental reset in, and really love their adjustment come game number 3 with this Ashe pick. I feel like this has been one of the favorites for sure, seeing that I've seen so far in the Origin Series work.
It's just arrow after arrow after arrow, catching them off guard. In the end, of course, the Baron being picked up there, and Cut were basically the team that was up against it, sort of whether they were going to challenge out Sunlight. And we'll have to keep our eye on the tournament because obviously they will go down to the low brackets and they're not done yet. And then, of course, we move on to Group A, the game we've just covered here, which was We're Future up against Wavy. Wavy, they tried to meet them in that chaotic embrace, but We're Future looked like they were born in it.
Yeah, it felt like, you know, the composition spelled like they could match with the chaos that, you know, FT was able to assemble. But unfortunately, Ness wasn't able to find the perfect setups despite the Galio getting picked up, despite the anti-assassin Garen with the silence has been picked up, and the Nami as well being, you know, having a lot of utility on the board for the Vayne. But, you know, it's pure chaos, and we're Future being able to win 2-0 in the last series for the night.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic games. Of course, you know, this tournament's not over. We have another 3 days to go to see who is going to make it through. It is 3 teams from Group A that will be going through, 2 teams from Group B, and 1 team from Group C that will progress to the Origin Series finals. You know, at the moment, obviously, it's all based on the points that's happened from June, July, August. Have you got any favorites out there that you've seen? Obviously, you know, everybody knows what tribe, aka no team, no talent at the top of Group A at the moment. But any other regions that have sort of surprised you or something you all look forward to seeing?
I think the differences in the picks and a lot of the, you know, maybe I get to see Xin Zhao again being popular at top side, especially when we looked at last month, as well as the Graves, because Graves isn't exactly, at least from the PPGL Philippine region, isn't exactly as popular, but Graves has been incredibly strong, especially when we looked at last month's finals, when we watched, you know, no team, no talent, and I'm looking forward to see Game Lord's performance once more. And I feel like Group C has been my favorite just because of how close and heated the rivalry is between Cut and Sunlight. So that is what I'm looking forward to for the rest of the days, at least for, you know, the next 3 days of the Origin Series for August.
Yeah, and we have a lot of games still to go. we are far from done to figure out exactly who is going to be crowned the the Origin Series champion. We're just setting up an interview, apparently, so hopefully that will be ready to go in just a moment. I'm making words up. A moment. Yeah, I'm just, we'll wait to see who it's going to be. Well, we're waiting with bated breath to see who it's going to be. Anything you want to see more from these teams, Riku? Like, what are you seeing over in Asia, in the teams that are performing very well over there? What are you seeing that you expect to see maybe progress into the Europe and MENA regions?
Blitzcrank. I think at the top of my head, the Blitzcrank.
Boom, Blitzcrank. Maxman. I feel like Maxman's here already. It's like that's his favorite.
Oh dear. Yeah, Blitzcrank has been it has been picked only like twice by one team, and the buff coming from Blitzcrank in the current patch feels like it could possibly open up opportunities of strong early roams and as well as early picks and just snowball maybe another alternative to a Leona perhaps. So maybe we get to see a Blitzcrank in the Origin series.
Yeah, I can only hope. Let's get an interview on your screen. So who are we going to have here? I believe it's Lonely Kid. That's joining us. How you doing, buddy? Congratulations, by the way. Fantastic game earlier on against Sangal.
Thank you.
So, how's this turnaround come about? Because obviously this is the furthest you progressed so far within the tournament. Well, obviously taking down Sangal. Sangal themselves. Obviously took on teams, but I want to mention, because a game that we didn't see on stream, you guys beat Unicorns of Love.
Yeah, they won the 2 Origin series, but we win against them.
Absolutely incredible. So that sets you up for a match versus Footballists, right, tomorrow?
Yeah, we are gonna face against Footballists tomorrow. We beat them in early phase of the Origin series. We're ready to match.
So what do you feel that you've done this month that's made you do so well?
I think we are a surprise team. We can beat every team we want. That we just have to our day.
It's been a good day. I think that's safe to say.
It's a good day for us.
Yeah, for sure. I'm curious though. I mean, it has been a month. How do you think 2.3 and 2.3A has affected the team?
How's the latest patch helped you?
We train so much. We play the champions that we good at it. That's how we won.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. I can only wish you all the best. Obviously, against Footballists tomorrow, the number 3 team, but you've already knocked the number 1 team out. So what more could happen? It should be a fantastic day for you guys tomorrow. I hope the team is very much happy with their performance today.
Yeah, we're very happy for our performance today. We play very well, and we won.
Absolutely fantastic. Great to see Turkish teams delivering and performing so well. It's always been a hotbed for esports. I wish you all the best for tomorrow.
Thank you. We do our best in tomorrow.
Absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I think that almost wraps up today, Riku. What a fantastic day. Some big surprises coming through. And I want to remind you guys, because obviously, we have some big games that have happened throughout the day. We can only show so many on the stream. The big one for me is that Sunlight are out from Group C. Sunlight, the number 1 team, is out. Now, there's only one place in that group, which means if Cut can make it, because they've got through a little bit further, I think they were about 16 points behind. I think if they maybe win one more game, they're through. Let's have a look at the brackets, because it's been a pretty crazy game overall. Absolutely bonkers day. No team, no talent. As you can see, playing Cream Real Betis tomorrow. Game Lord versus Team Queso tomorrow as well. So expected teams, I think, in the upper bracket for Group A, Riku.
Yeah, I feel like, when we look back at June and July, these were basically the top 4 teams that we constantly saw. And, you mentioned we expected, we also saw, where Future's performance. Looking forward to see them maybe climb towards the upper bracket, perhaps from their, chaotic performance. But it really worked. And it's just such a very, very interesting game to watch.
Interested to see where Singularity can push forward through to. Obviously had success in the past as well. Over in Group B, some very interesting games. As we just saw, Supermassive Blaze there beating out Unicorns of Love. Unicorns of Love have won both June and July so far. Big surprise by them getting caught out by Supermassive Blaze, who've had, as we just heard from Lonely Kid there, a fantastic day. And I think that proves it. Now for Footballists, they are the only team that could really catch Unicorns of Love along with Na'Vi. And as you can see, Na'Vi falling to Footballists 0-2 as well. So both Unicorns of Love and Na'Vi in the lower bracket. Let's have a look at that lower bracket because this is massive. They're going to face each other in the lower bracket. That's incredible because 2 teams will progress from Group B. Unicorns of Love, Na'Vi in that position, but Footballists might nick it from one of them.
Yeah, it's going to be an early spicy matchup for sure. I feel like, Group B has been one of the most sporadic groups out of the 3 when we take into account the results of June. It has been Unicorns of Love, just as you mentioned, has been constantly at top. But the top 3, the top 2nd to 4th place has been 3 completely different teams. So I'm excited to see how this, mix is going to happen with the lower bracket results, with Supermassive defeating Unicorns of Love, now looking at them at the bottom bracket.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. Let's have a look over at Group C as well, finally, to wrap things up here. As I was saying, I'm blown away. Sunlight knocked out already. Cut, of course, we saw GK versus Cut earlier. That was a bit of a surprise for us as well. But the fact that Sunlight lost to Team Occupy, for me, Riku, this signifies that obviously now we're 3 months into the Origin series, that teams are starting to pick up, more and more players coming into the game, and more teams starting to learn how to play as a team.
Yeah, we're starting to possibly see new kings of top 2, perhaps new champions from Group C, because again, just as you mentioned, it has been a constant fight between Sunlight and Cut, with, a 2nd and 3rd like GK, maybe off meta, having to fight for that top 2 spot. But it's now a different story. We're seeing upsets in Group C, and I'm excited to see more in the upcoming days.
Absolutely. Obviously, let's have a quick look at the lower bracket just to confirm exactly how that all worked out. And you can see Sunlight, they actually lost to Wick 447, if I'm not mistaken. I think they've already lost. Yes, they have. They lost 2-1 to Wick 47, and Cut won 2-0 against Bunch of Wolves. So it does mean that Cut are playing Wick 47 tomorrow. So that was obviously the final game that just happened a moment ago. What a day it has been, Riku. Fantastic stuff overall. What are your takeaways? What are your takeaways from today? What are you hoping to see tomorrow?
Well, all I'll have to say about today is that it felt like as the night was going, it felt like it got more, like blood were boiling. It got more chaotic, and I love it. I want to see more of those tomorrow. A lot of, maybe more picks we haven't seen before this August, perhaps. And I'm looking forward to a lot of spicy picks as well.
Absolutely. Spicy picks, spicy teams, some massive games that'll all be happening tomorrow. Join us in the same place, same time. 5:30, we'll be kicking things off. We'll see you then. Have a good night. Get yourself refreshed and maybe get a couple of league games in. Why not? See you soon.